you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, it says fighting back against bricks and minifigs, special guest Crystal Gorman. And let me just give you a quick intro before we bring her up for anyone who doesn't know. But this Crystal or Chris Law Gorman, she was the former Salem, Oregon bricks and minifig store owner, and she's fighting back after BAM's hostile takeover of her store. Remember, she reached out to corporate because her family was going to be moving, and she asked for next steps, if she was going to sell it back or what to do. And then that's when BAM stole her store from her. That's my interpretation of it. She is also the mom of Tattle. And one last thing in the bottom of the screen, I just put little Ozzy in there because someone in the chat had just said it was Black Cat Appreciation Day. That's our chat cat. So I had to bring him in. And without further ado, you guys, let's bring in Crystal. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. The dogs have just discovered their squeak toy again, so we'll see if
how they do. Well, we're both wearing our Justice for Tattle shirts, and I know a lot of people in the chat have their Justice for Tattle shirts. Also, it's linked in the description, you guys, as a way to help support her legal fund. Her GoFundMe is also in the chat, and oh, Justice for Tattle just got their Tattle shirt.
Yes, I've got mine on, but it's a little out of view. But and I think backwards right now because I really don't like the reverse camera.
It's a little bit. It is so cute. I absolutely love it. Like I put it on and
I'm so pleased with how it turned out.
No, me too. I put it on and I was like, I have a mission and it's Justice for Tattle.
Yeah. I will warn people that are ordering it. It does run a little bit small. I kind of usually I'll order a sample just to see quality, fit, size. This one I kind of jumped the gun on and got it up and put it live before I had ordered the sample. So hopefully nobody got one like me that's too snug and I had to order a second one. But
no, it's perfect. And so, and I don't know, have you had an interview since the breaking news? Because, girl, the breaking news.
Is the first.
Anyone meant? Oh, it is. Okay, so you guys, this is
first.
This is Crystal's first interview since the breaking news of her First Amendment complaint, where there is a RICO charge now. She added on Ammon and Matt and Joshua Barefoot Johnson and Brandon the idiot best or Brandon worst. And girl, this is so crazy. I mean, what do you have to say? This is your first time speaking about it.
Listen, the gang's all there. Yeah, they, our lawyer is fantastic. And we've been waiting. This has been in the works for a few weeks. And it was so funny because she had the amended filing done and it was ready to go like a week ago. And then the Kaiser police report was released, that 34-page report. And our lawyer's like, hold on, I'm gonna need a little more time. So it took about another week or so to make those adjustments. But reading the comments has been interesting. I particularly like the RICO reverse, the Uno reverse.
I was screaming. I was screaming RICO. I was like, no. At first, I didn't even realize it was RICO. And it wasn't until like I saw it, like someone explained it somewhere else. I was like, wait, what? Yeah. And I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, how funny is that? Yeah. And Collecting Weekly says the filing was beautiful.
Yeah, it really, and I really appreciate as a layperson myself, I really appreciate the red line, the red line version of it, where you can actually kind of go through and see all those changes. A RICO reverse shirt that would be funny. I can work on that.
Ammon said he was 5 steps ahead. I don't think he saw this at all.
Yeah.
And I even pulled out some slides about it, or I made some slides about it. But I think probably the biggest part of it was
sorry. Havoc. Hi.
I think the biggest part
was, when Ben records, they know we're supposed to be quiet, and they'll usually like hide themselves in their crate. Havoc is aggressively making eye contact with me. He's like the cat that stares right into your soul while they push your drink off the counter right now. He's like, I know you don't want me to do this, but I'm going to do it even louder.
Well, no worries.
Buddy.
I think at least our microphones are working, and I think that's good. So basically, I think this is what I pulled out as a big one was that so they targeted your store 6 months prior when they made their LLC, the Baker Bricks, when Joshua Johnson and Brandon Best made that, which is crazy.
So that's what we would like confirmation on.
Okay.
And so we believe that is what happened with that registration beforehand. But that's one of those, the documents that we are requesting. So I'll just clarify that one a little bit.
Yeah, well, still, and also, I mean, and we knew that they were doing this, to other stores, but the fact that you guys pulled out that this is you are the fourth store they've done this to in Oregon, right?
Technically, I mean, as far as legal filings, we are only the second store in Oregon.
Okay. Got
it. Because the legal filings for the Canby store are publicly available. And the circumstances around the Canby store are very, very similar. That being said, there was a lawsuit that was filed against against Matt Bauman, the previous owner of my location.
Your store.
But that was a different circumstance. And then we're still not fully clear what happened in the previous ownership of the Eugene store before Brandon took over. That is a franchise owner that our lawyer will be looking to get into contact with.
Well, what? It's a RICO. It's a RICO charge, and they deserve it.
Yeah,
and
you can look at other locations outside of the U.S., like the Relic store.
Or outside of Oregon.
Outside of Oregon, yeah. So it's definitely been more that are coming to light every day, and I can't say too much about.
No, that's okay. That's what I figured. I just pulled out some really quick things. Like I was so shocked, and then this was just a cute note I saw in there that because I didn't know this before. This was blue line, so this does seem like it's new. But sales doubled when you were the owner, which is very impressive, Crystal. I think you did such a good job.
I mean, sales doubled when I came on. My first month as manager, sales were around 10,000 for the month, incredibly low. And within my first month or two of management, they had already doubled. So
you did such a good job, and these guys reading it, because I thought I had read most of your lawsuit, but I really sat down this weekend, actually yesterday. It was so funny. I don't know if Laura, one of our mods, is in the chat, but I needed to be icing a lot my hip. And she's like, just ice, don't do anything else. So I literally sat down and read all 44 pages, like thoroughly this time. And I was like, it just made me so much more mad again. And also this part I didn't notice the first time either. So like, these are just a few little random things I pulled out, but just that you can't say that you are a former owner for an entire year after in the termination agreement. That's what it says. Like, isn't that strange? Is that normal?
I don't know how normal it is. It's, they put that in the termination agreement. That's, there's an argument that if you are going to require somebody to remove 2 years of their employment history, there has to be compensation for doing that. Clearly the cat's out of the bag on that. Right. Because, in Reckless Ben's video, Ammon is right there saying, go after Crystal, the previous owner. So.
Well, it's also, I mean, they outed you anyways, but it's also, it seems really not right because like if someone has to give up their store and they want to like go and apply for another job and they can't say that they had worked, or owned a store, I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then this was just another little thing that stood out to me, that just how once they took over your store, how they immediately like were forwarding all the sales to the Eugene store.
Yeah.
And the only thing I didn't see mentioned, because I think it obviously is probably hard to prove. Remember when the allegation of the all cash, like at some
Yeah.
point they were saying all
Yeah.
cash.
I mean,
And
that's a provable. There are customers. There's video of those signs on the door. Yeah. So I mean, the all cash, the fact that they were going to all cash, there's video evidence of that. Now, one of the things that you can do when you go to all cash, if you're going to I should say the most nefarious interpretation behind a store switching to all cash is that you're not entering it into your point of sale system.
yep,
A less nefarious reason could simply be that your credit card machine, your Heartland card processor isn't working.
yeah,
Generally, if
no,
that happens, though, it is at the most you might be a day or two. So yeah.
yeah, cash only, no records, no records
Yeah.
LLC. And then
Yeah.
this part of I don't know why this seems so simple, but to me this like was a huge light bulb, because it was just worded so perfectly. It says these statements were false. BAM itself seized the sets and never asked Miss Law for them. The clear implication is that Miss Law engaged in theft or dishonesty, which constitutes defamation per se. Is okay. So, but the whole point, this little part that said BAM never asked you for his Lego sets, because
Yeah.
they knew all along you never had them. And I don't know, this is such a simple little thing,
Yeah.
but there's no right. It's not like they, ever told Brian, oh, we've been asking her for months
Yeah.
to return them. We have saved the video footage of her taking nothing. They never
once
even
reached out
asked
to him.
you for
Never.
these sets. So that just, I mean, kind of blows it all out of the water when they're like, oh, we think she stole them. Really, if you really thought that, why wouldn't you reach out to her and say something? They never did that, and they could never like provide that sort of backup for anything they've said. But that little thing kind of really just was like, that's so obvious. Sometimes it's the littlest things.
Yeah.
So anyways, I loved that. I was like, this is great. Okay. And so then 1 second, let me just go to, okay. So those were just the ones in the lawsuit. I just said, okay, this was the last part. So I said, what the F, Lego? Okay. So I didn't even realize this. So basically they had told you when you had bought the store, or when you were going to buy the store, that they were an authorized Lego reseller. And it turns out that was not true, not until this year, right?
And we don't know. That's still like provide the documentation. Yeah.
That's crazy. And I looked at, you have one of the exhibits where Brian Mansell even emailed Lego, and he said, we thought by bringing our collection to a store licensed to sell Lego products, it would be a safe and secure way to sell the collection while keeping it in the Lego community. And then they respond by saying, Bricks and Minifigs, and this was last February 2025, Bricks and Minifigs isn't affiliated with the Lego group in any way, which means we aren't able to dictate their action, nor have we any control over what they have or will do. So I just thought that was so interesting, because now they're saying that they are a like a official Lego reseller or whatever, but I didn't realize that before. And it's like, how many other franchise owners were duped by them saying that? And they even put like the Lego, they kind of suggest that in their ops manual. Like it does say Lego so many times in there.
Yeah.
So
well, and they would come to us, and like one of the good examples is we did a comic convention, and I reached out to it was either Kai or Matt, I don't remember which of the two it was, to ask, I need to make a new banner, because at Rose City there's booths selling like aftermarket minifigs. And so people would come by our booth and wonder why the price was so different. And I was like, I need to make a new banner for our booth indicating that they are authentic Lego figures instead of custom figures, because I got tired of saying the same thing over and over. And they walked me through the language that I needed to use on the banner that wouldn't get us in trouble with Lego.
Wow.
There was one time they reached out to me and said, there's been a change in regulations, because we had a Lego sticker on the outside of the store, and they said, you need to pull that sticker down, because now any Lego signage needs to be below the Bricks and Minifigs signage. Or if you were going to have the Lego logo up, it had to also, there also had to be logos for like Big Kid Bricks, Clone Army Customs, the other vendors that we were using. So all of that implied that they were getting direct communication from Lego about how we were supposed to use the mark. Like all of that, and even on their website saying authorized Lego retailer. They marketed that.
I was gonna say that the Wayback Machine, we got to check that out. And like, because if it's true that they have that whatever partnership with Lego now, I really question why Lego would do that, considering they were like, gaslighting and not being really honest about.
Well, that's the thing is prove it. Like show the documentation. And that's, if they're not going to make, that's the whole lawsuit. If you're going to put requirements in your franchise agreement that I have to abide by, then you have to abide by those same requirements. And if you're not going to act in good faith by abiding by those, then I'm going to take the other legal recourses that I have. If you're going to require mediation, but ghost our attorney and refuse to schedule it, while at the same time saying we need you to not sue us, you're not allowed to sue us. We have a fundamental right in this country to access legal services. You cannot, you cannot tell somebody they are not allowed to sue you. So it we have an issue in this country about accessibility when it comes to legal services.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been really privileged to have so much support in the GoFundMe and the merchandise that is putting us in a position where we can continue to fight. But like, you can't just, and this is what they told Brian they would do. This is what they told us they would do. We're just going to delay. We're going to price you out of it. And they weren't expecting the internet to rally around us.
No, they definitely were not expecting that. Actually, I have a question about that coming up in one sec, because you just hit on exactly what I was thinking in your timeline. And just right before that, just to finish off the Lego part, do you think Lego will actually like do anything now? Are you disappointed in them at all?
Listen, I don't want to get myself sued by the Lego
Corporation.
Okay. I think you never know what's happening behind the scenes. And at this point, they have to be aware of what's happening. I can have like my own private speculation about what may happen, why something hasn't happened yet. I suspect it's much like the Kaiser police and the Provo police. They're waiting for the outcome of any civil litigation. And then we'll kind of see what happens from there. But I don't want any heat from the Lego Corporation, because we can't afford that.
No, don't worry. I was just kind of disappointed in them.
What do you think of the theory that it was reckless ban?
So now moving on, so the CoffeeZilla video was obviously a big deal, and the most I had two favorite parts. My first part was the U-Haul, which we're going to get
terrifying. The whole thing with him is terrifying. It was so intimidating.
No, it shouldn't be. You guys did so good. But my second favorite part was your mini me. I just want to show this clip really quick. This is Crystal's mini me.
He stole the Legos.
It's absurd. We didn't even know Reckless Ben. He had no interaction, no relation to us, no relation to the store. That doesn't hold any water.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just loved her in the background, and I was like, how cool is that? Like, is she like up to date like on the lawsuit? Do you guys share all the information with her? Does she know what a fight you're putting up?
It's so funny because at the beginning of it, we were like, I mean, this is my daughter, Frankie, 25, but also like, there's some stuff that's going on that I'm like, you can't go tell your friends about, or you can't post this stuff about. Now they're pretty caught up. We haven't had a chance because they're working two jobs. We haven't really had a chance to go over the new filing. And at this point, they're just like, they're living their life.
Yeah.
It's, you don't really pay attention to what mom's doing. But she
must be really proud of you though. Well, I mean, because she was sitting back there and she was nodding along. It was so cute.
It's so funny because I was at work and I'm on my 10-minute break at work. And so I'm sitting outside and I'm scrolling Instagram, and then I see the message notification, and it's an Instagram message from CoffeeZilla. And as I'm sitting outside work, I go, holy shit. And then I messaged Ben and Frankie, and I was like, CoffeeZilla just messaged me. And my kid freaked out. And so when we had the first meeting, Frankie like popped their head in, and they were like, I just wanted to say I'm a really big fan. Is it okay if I just like sit back here?
That was so cute because she was like so proud. You could see her sitting back there, and she was like nodding along like with what you guys were saying.
Well, she used to work in the store too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So was there through the consignment stuff, was living with us, watching me go through and do all the inventory stuff. So yeah.
But she must be really proud of you. I mean, I'm guessing it's such a good lesson for her to learn and to see and to, and just the huge fight you're putting up. And so she's also in the next clip, because speaking of this CoffeeZilla interview, I mean, that U-Haul thing.
Until after he told me he was taking the keys and locking me out, that I really kind of paid attention to the fact that he had a large, not the small, the large U-Haul truck.
So yeah, I just kept hearing.
That was crazy. Like, and you've seen this part too. Speaking of the U-Haul,
I've barely seen that. I caught just like a minute of it on your live. What was it, yesterday?
Yeah.
But I was also in the car listening.
Okay, I'm gonna play it for you.
Yeah.
This is from last October. Okay, so let's play this.
I don't know if I want the popcorn chicken. I don't care. I want chicken tots. I don't know what you want to make that as.
Originally, it was chicken tenders.
And then I still want, what was the other thing? Oh no,
The popcorn chicken and then the
no, because I wanted the egg rolls with the teriyaki sauce.
Hey, Mom.
That is not me on the screen, Punking.
U-Haul. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna U-Haul of it.
I know, it's so funny when I first played this. I'm like, this is not Crystal.
not
this
me.
is Amanda. Okay, hold on. Oops. Hold on one sec. Let me go back. I just totally messed that up. Let me get out of this screen. I just have to move this to go back. Thanks a lot, Punking. Okay, so hold on. Let me go back to the video because I just want to make sure everyone hears it before we get your commentary. Oops, here it is. All right.
Like,
so
I'm a little mad that she has the purple hair that I had to get rid of for my new job. So like that's why I'm a little mad.
It looked a lot better. It looked a lot better on you.
I did see a couple of those comments in there.
I don't know if I want the popcorn chicken. I don't care. I want chicken tots. I don't know what you want to make that as.
Originally, it was chicken tenders.
And then I still want, what was the other thing? Oh no.
The popcorn chicken and then the
no, because I wanted the egg rolls with the teriyaki sauce.
Hey, Mom.
I don't carry teriyaki.
How are we gonna get it?
U-Haul. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna U-Haul of it back.
Don't make me come off the store.
You know that place almost as well as me.
I know how to get into it.
Yeah, the back.
What about when the back's locked? How many times has that place been broken into?
Or the roof. The roof that I can't go
I was
onto.
gonna say, I don't have to worry about you doing it because you just get stuck.
Yeah, girl. So what anything to say about that? I mean, a little bit strange, right?
Yeah, it's just listen, I am all for dark humor. It's how I've dealt with a lot of stuff. I am, all for dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
Generally at my own expense. But I the less I say about her, the better.
Well, I'll just say it for you. Well, first of all, someone made a really funny comment in the chat the first time I played this, and they said, "Does she ever move from that one spot in the counter? Because it's like the one we always see the clips, even in the Reckless Ben videos. Like she's always right there."
So it looks like she has moved further down the counter.
Oh, she's moved.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
honestly, I think that this was disturbing to me. I mean, this didn't
yeah.
seem just like this is not some just like random dark joke. This was how are we gonna get the food in a U-Haul? Like
Yeah.
it was, I think, I don't know, but you know what? I added her on to the Holler Back Girls. I make it, the meme is just getting bigger. So we have, we have Brandon Best, Joshua Johnson. What's that other dude's name now? I've already forgot his name. Brimhall, Adam Brimhall,
Yeah.
and then now she's in there too. So they're all in on it. They're all Holler Back Girls, and I think I had one more thing on the U-Haul. Oh, no. So
Well, it makes you wonder what kind of conversations are happening in that house.
right.
What kind of conversations are happening in the store? So I will say I don't want to defend her. However, I will say that we don't know what Josh and Brandon were telling her about the situation and about me. And when you're hearing things from one perspective, and like, so I don't, I can't super judge because I have no idea what she was being told about me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They definitely were saying a lot of things they shouldn't, and that's, thank goodness.
Oh,
there's
you
no
have no idea.
defamation. I mean,
You know what the hardest part of being a neurodivergent person who doesn't know when to shut up is I have to be really careful, right? I'm freaking Tom Holland right now. On the Spider-Man press tour. It's one of those like, do you know what I know? I know what you know, but do you know what they like? It's this, like, and so I'm like, do you have any idea how much information is in my head that I can't talk about?
I'm sure. I'm sure. And like, so I'll try to say as much as I can, but I also don't know everything, but all I'll say is this. I just get the bad vibes. To me, that wasn't just like a dark humor joke. There was something not right there. You don't joke about getting into people's stores, how many times that store's been broken into. And it just seemed like we're all in on it. I don't know. I don't like it. But that's definitely not Crystal. Okay. And Crystal's not Amanda. And that's all we need to know from there. And so real quick. So going back to the timeline, because her store was taken over November 14th, 2024. Okay. And then we basically, in February, this is from your lawsuit, said that BAM lawyers, they responded, but they refused to mediate or go to arbitration, right? That was February this year.
Yeah.
And then you sued them in March of this year. And then the Reckless Ben video dropped in May of this year. And so I had two questions on that. One was, when after his video dropped, did that kind of change how his lawyers were responding to you guys at all?
No,
Really?
No, not at all. No. There was
it's okay. Whatever you can say, that's okay.
No, there was one communication right after they filed the RICO TRO. There was one communication from them saying, I was watching a live and I'd made a comment in a live. And then our attorney immediately got a communication to the effect of, okay, well, she's under a gag order. Do we need to remind you? And we're just like, no, I'm not. But then it makes me really funny when I go back and I watch that clip from Clutch Power's interview where he's asking, well, because I know that, like, I know the timeline. I know it's Matt McNeff waving frantically in the background because Clutch Power reached out to me and said, like, do you have a statement or can you come on this interview? And at the time, on our lawyer's advice, we were sending out a statement saying, while we are not legally bound by this gag order, on the advice of our attorney, we're going to refrain from making statements for the next basically 2 weeks. Very clearly said, like, we are not being sued. And so it was really funny watching that video when Clutch Power says that, and I can just imagine what is going on in that room with somebody. I suspect Matt McNeff. I can't confirm it, in the background, going, "Do not say we are suing her." I think it's him. I can picture it, and it just makes me laugh.
and we're seriously on the same wavelength because I literally have that video.
Yeah.
So I was gonna go to that. Maybe I should just skip forward to
Jumping
there.
ahead of you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We can totally
Yeah,
do that.
But it really hasn't changed the way BAM responds to us at all. It did open up a lot more defamation.
Yeah,
Not
I
to
bet.
me, but publicly and about me. Really did open up a lot more. It gave them a lot more opportunities to open their mouths and just continue lying, which I appreciate. So,
Well, and also I was gonna ask, oops, sorry, hold on. I was gonna ask, so after the takeover and to like this year, this February, when they finally like responded for the mediation, like was there anything else in that timeline that was anything else that we should know or that they did? Nothing. It was kind of like they
Nothing.
just like thought they robbed you and got away with it.
I mean,
my opinion.
we sent them a letter in December of 2024 with our first attorney in Portland. Sent a letter saying we are requesting our official meeting. We are going to pursue our arbitration. And they responded back with a letter saying, like, you're welcome to do that, but if you do that, we're going to come after you for the other $100,000 in fees, and we're going to sue you. And our Portland lawyer, like our Oregon lawyer, was like, yeah, okay, I can't do this. You all need to find a Utah lawyer. And at the time we were we were getting ready to move to Spain. And then it took a while to find our current attorney. And then, that's when then we found her and had her resend and open communication again.
I was going to ask you about that actually. How did you find your current lawyer in Utah? Because especially in Utah.
It's like it was using a VPN, because when you're overseas, you can't access the state bar resources. Because every state will have a website that you can narrow down your attorney search based on what you need. You cannot access that if you are outside of the US. And so then it was, and there's also, the 12-hour, 11-hour time difference. And so Ben did a lot of work. I give my Ben credit for doing a lot of work and actually managing to find our attorney. I don't know, like at the time she was not expecting what she was jumping into. So
and so you found her on your own, like it wasn't like you were referred to them or something, because it must have been pretty hard, I'm guessing.
We reached out to hundreds of attorneys and we kept getting the response of either like, this is too small of a case for us, it will cost you too much,
or conflict of interest.
There's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is really great, because the one you did land on seems very, very competent and very well versed. Like they definitely understand what's going on here.
She is fantastic.
Wow, and it can take for that long, to get a lawyer to do this. So, wow, that was a really thank you for answering that. I was definitely wanting to know about
Crystal told me earlier.
This is the clip you mentioned. In case any of you guys haven't seen it, I'm going to play it really quick.
Today, she was, it sounded like there was a lawsuit filed against her. So I would love to get a copy of that claim, if possible.
A lawsuit filed against her?
That's what I heard. Is that not?
No.
Is that not?
No. Not to our knowledge, not as of yet. So.
Okay, understood. Well, I'll
Just that
keep
reflection
digging.
in the background.
And the whole not to our knowledge, like who else's knowledge would it be? Like who else would be randomly suing? Rose says, "Oh my God, how have we not seen that?" I know. Well, I made it into a short also, but how crazy! I mean, what are they even? What do you want to
not
comment
to our knowledge? Also, not to our knowledge.
Captain says you guys can't see the video. I just played the video. I mean, I could play it again, but I think here.
Crystal told me earlier today she was sounded like there was a lawsuit filed against her. So I would love to get a copy of that claim, if possible.
A lawsuit filed against her?
That's what I heard. Is that not?
No,
is that not?
I could just see.
Not to our knowledge, not as of yet. So,
Okay, understood. Well,
So-
I'll keep digging.
Captain ZJ, I hope that you could see that better. I also have it as a short in my on my videos if you want like to try to zoom in or something. But so and Clutch Power Pod, he also has it on his, and you can also subscribe to him. On all his stuff will be added at the end. But really, I mean, in my opinion, first of all, I do think it's Matt because he's the one who's, and I have a few more clips of this, and I've been talking about this almost for my past 2 live streams. I've really honed in on him because I feel like he's always the one trying to silence everyone. In my opinion, he's the one behind legal.team at bricksandminifigs.com. He has his name on the DC, whatever it's called, the DCMA or DMCA request to take down the BAM ops manual saying that it's a copyright infringement. We are going to watch a clip too of him saying how, because ACOB even told him like, it's not a good look when you keep trying to silence people. And he's like, yeah, but you have to understand, like, otherwise there's lies out there and they just don't get it. So I think that's him for sure.
I can't.
I know you can't say, but I'm saying I think it's him.
I'm gonna plug my husband right now because I don't know how many people have been following along with the work in progress, like the book that he's been writing. He's been releasing it as a serial novel every week. And even if you have no interest in the rest of the book, you all have to go watch the most recent chapter because I was sitting out, like I was listening to it. It's half an hour, 45 minutes. It's a short. It's on his YouTube channel. It is the funniest. I was snort laughing the whole time I was reading it. It is fictionalized. It is a fictionalized serial novel based on our lives.
Okay, so Rose Investigate said everyone should watch the new part and that it's so good. So what I'm going to do
is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen.
So this is on Benjamin Gorman's.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I do the timestamps, I'll make sure to add that in.
It is
good.
It is perfection, and I almost peed myself laughing. And it is amazing and hilarious. And you guys are going to really enjoy it. Speaking of Matt and Ammon McNeff.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. So, but what was he even talking about here that they thought that there was going to be a lawsuit? Because like his reaction seems psychotic. Like, were they actually going to sue you? Because they did talk about you all over the place.
So I can only speculate as to like my opinion as to what is happening here. And this is based on the email that we got from them, saying like, we're just reminding you that you're bound by this. And our lawyer going, yeah, no, you're not. And just kind of ignoring it. So our names are all over that RICO, that TRO.
And the TRO,
yeah. But we are not named as defendants.
Yeah, exactly.
Our lawyer has speculated, again, we can only speculate about somebody else's motives, that they were leaving the option open to include us as the does, somewhere in the does 1 through 10. Now, the legal, so they were kind of operating and indicating to us that we were bound by that, even though we are not named defendants and we had never been served. They even sent that TRO to our attorney with the kind of alluding to the fact that this was them serving us. But there's no official serving. We were not named as defendants. And now, from my understanding is, they cannot now come in and name us under those does because you use a doe 1 through 10 to hold the place of somebody that you don't yet know who it is.
Exactly.
And you can't say we didn't know when in the language itself you're using the meeting that we had as the foundation for your claim of this big conspiracy.
Well, and I also...
So it was all kinds of, in my opinion, all kinds of shady.
I think so too. And I actually have a clip, I think it might be the next one, where he literally calls you a co-conspirator in in their
Yeah.
statement. So it's like you're a co-conspirator. Yeah. So they
Well,
definitely
he
can't
also
have you.
says that. He also says that in
The press
one
release.
of the I believe it's the police body cam footage where he makes the claim, and there's another time where I believe it's Josh makes a claim that Brian and I have ganged up together and are paying Reckless
Yep,
Ben
I read that.
to make all this up, that Brian's collection never really existed, that I was so angry that they took over the store, that we have then kind of created this whole thing and used forged documents and all of
These
that.
these guys are diabolical.
Yeah, despite the fact that there's video.
Yeah, that there's video, but they won't show the video they had from their security. And real quick, just before I even take this off the screen, Colin says around this time, he heard that Matt was floating the idea of suing any creators that were covering Ben's video, one gigantic one specifically. This was around May 28th. So that's crazy. Yeah, because this interview was May 27th or 26th, I believe. And yeah, no, it must have been May 27th because they filed the lawsuit right on the 28th. And then, no, they filed on the 27th and then the TRO was the 28th. I'm pretty
Imagine trying to sue CoffeeZilla for just using your own words.
No, they were gonna. Oh my god, that would
I can
be
only
amazing.
speculate one major one, unless he's actually talking about Reckless Ben. You'd have to clarify that with you. I can only my timeline, my sense of time perception is off where all of this stuff is. But like I can imagine. Like, can you imagine?
Because the CoffeeZilla one, when that wasn't
that
until
one come
June.
out?
I thought that was way later.
Okay, so maybe it
Right?
was like maybe they are talking about Reckless Ben.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's crazy. And then just really quickly, I just had a few comments I tagged before we get too far into the weeds. But Mean Panda wants to say, Monday, Chris Hype, lovely filing. Hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you, Mean Panda, for the support.
Welcome in. Thank you. Today is my day off. So it's been I have my caffeine, hydration, fuzzy, because I've learned my lesson in the lives, and then because I went to Portland, my voodoo donut.
Oh my god, that's so cute. Oh yeah, you had an interview there too, didn't you?
No, we did. I did it wasn't really an interview. So I have a podcast coming out with, I don't know if I should say, I don't know if she wants.
It's okay.
I'm definitely going to talk about it when she actually releases it. I don't know if she wants me to, because it hasn't aired yet.
Okay.
But she normally, she's very much outside of the Lego sphere. And so it was kind of nice because I got to talk about some more, like we talk about this stuff, but there's also some personal. So we met at a different like bakery and had a conversation because she just happened to be in town a couple of weekends ago. So
Got it.
Yeah, different place. Voodoo Donuts is very specifically known for very unique donut creation.
I have the same thing. I have my tea, my coconut water, my cucumber juice, and my my Perrier. So I have everything lined up here.
Yeah.
But,
I've got to have my different drinks depending on what I need at a time. So
well, that's perfect. And then I'm gonna address this one so you don't have to. For Charles, who said too bad he didn't put Tattle on the lawsuit. It's in Discovery. That's what they're requesting for Discovery. So we're gonna be talking about that later.
Well,
but
and like, Tattle is in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. We are asking for confirmation.
Exactly. So don't worry. We're gonna get to that part, but I just want to shut that down before I heard anything else like that. Collecting Weekly said that they had to pick up their kids, but Chris, hope you guys have success with the suit and Justice. Have a great stream. Justice for Tattle. Have a great evening. And then there's just Kinney is one of my favorites. She just makes so many funny jokes. She's like, man, Bam has mini brains. They are so lame. Ammon McIdiot. And then and then we thank you for the super sticker, Chanel #1. K9 says, so it's just a super sticker for support. And then, yes, Stan Lexi said Legos will wait until the end of the lawsuit to make a statement. Lori said they stabbed you in the back. Totally stabbed you in the back.
Yeah.
Gelth Walker, thank you so much for the super chat, said, send the lobotomy crew for chicken nugget tenders. So he always makes fun of me, said that I got a lobotomy. I got a surgery on a torn hip labrum, but now he's calling the other girl, Amanda, send the lobotomy crew for chicken. Yeah, in a U-Haul, right, Gal? They're just super funny. And then Into Disguise says Amanda was going to be the next victim, which I don't know, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Corporate does not want to own stores. They made that very clear to me. That is not what they do. I mean, they'll always continue to own the Orem location because that's their flagship, and obviously the Boise location. But we had conversations. They made it clear to me how difficult it is for corporate to manage. If they're in Utah, to manage a store in Oregon and a store in California and a store in Washington or wherever. Corporate does not like to own stores. They are difficult to manage from a distance. There's wording in the franchise agreement that you have to stay within a certain region of your store because you cannot own and operate a store from a distance. That's just how it works. So I imagine, I don't know. I don't know any further context about Amanda is. Just something,
I think
somebody that brought in to manage, or
it's not as profitable when it's much easier when you can just rob a person's life savings when they invest it into the store. That's just allegedly, in my opinion. And then Rose Investigate says feels better when you can take all those rude comments that they made and stick it to them officially for it, doesn't it? And I agree. That's what I was screaming about it. And then CMAD Marine, thank you so much for the super chat, says Crystal should succeed in this case. Have you given thought on how to collect? They aren't going to make collecting easy. A rule is just that, a ruling, but to actually get a check is going to be another fight. We did have a question about that too, but you worded it very well. Thank you, CMAD.
I mean, yeah, that's always going to be a consideration, and a lot of that will be outside of my hands.
Mm-hmm.
But there are avenues that you can go through. There are, you can get, once you get those judgments, you can get garnishments, you can get, liens on houses and property, and accounts and businesses. So yeah.
Because there's a line, we have the IRS and we have his other lawyers.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's another, that's the next step. That's a future worry.
I hope that they're going to have to owe you for the rest of their lives, in my opinion. That's just what I hope. But I'll leave that to those are my own thoughts. So let's just keep going here. So thank you so much for the support, CMAT. I appreciate it. And so basically, okay, so the lawsuit against you. This part, I have it in fast speed, okay, for a reason, you guys, because I cannot stand listening to this guy. But when I watched this ACOB interview, and this guy is terrible. But the fact that he called you a co-conspirator, I was like, are you out of your mind? So let me just play it really quick.
Again, going back to the statements, sure. It is hard when there's harassment and threats and other behavior that makes it difficult to have those conversations.
Oh, Reckless Ben has joined. He wants evidence. Will the evidence be? You said the evidence is coming, right? For everything you guys are talking about.
As a matter of fact, what I would recommend, you guys care if I share my screen for a second?
Yeah, I'd love it, dude. Are we doing evidence? I'd love to see it.
Let me read.
This is like a horrible, bad, fake courtroom. I'm loving this. This is great.
Okay. I'm just going to read a statement and then I'll share my screen for a second. So, BAM just obtained a temporary restraining order from the Utah 4th Judicial Court enjoining Ben Schneider, Brian Mansell, together with all their affiliates, co-conspirators, including Crystal and Benjamin, employees, contractors, agents, and representatives, and anyone acting in concert with them, directly or indirectly, in person, remotely, or online, and restraining them from each of the actions and other misconducts described in the temporary restraining order, including further publications or disseminations of disparaging information. They have been ordered to refrain from further communications and to immediately take down all current publications, such as the terms defined in the verified complaint, and any other video, audio, or other form of publication posted on any online streaming platform by the group of co-defendants, directly or indirectly, in publications and any such communications published by the co-defendants from any online streaming platform or otherwise published that in any way relate to the private legal dispute underlying this matter between Brian and Crystal and the assertions of wrongdoing as described in the verified complaint. The temporary restraining order arises from evidence presented in court showing Schneider and Mansell's conspiracy with Crystal and Benjamin to engage in racketeering and corrupt actions and associated unlawful activities, including defamation, trespass, trade disparagement, deceptive practices, interference with economic relations, among other unlawful actions. The court found that plaintiffs. Give me just 1 second. The court found
because I'm going to ask you for the TLDR here. Yeah.
Yep. The court found that the plaintiff showed a substantial likelihood of success on the merits respecting these foregoing claims.
Right.
A copy of the TRO was sent to Crystal's counsel within the last hour, and frankly, if she was aware of such, she may as well be in contempt of the court's order as we speak for even showing.
I can't stand this guy. I'll let him finish.
And this is the live stream that I made a comment on.
Mm-hmm.
And their attorney
sent you something right then and there.
Sent our lawyer something saying, "Hey, she is in violation of this. We're just reminding you." So there's Matt on there saying we have sued her when you haven't.
Yes, and then calling you a co-conspirator.
You know what they call that? Do you know what you call lying about somebody?
defamation?
Yeah, there's a legal term for that.
He is terrible. Like he
Yeah.
is absolutely diabolical. Let me see what he says there in the. I actually I don't think it's that.
On this podcast, on this live stream. As an additional observation, following a face-to-face settlement meeting with Crystal and Benjamin several months ago on February 6th, BAM expressly requested that she produce any and all evidence in her possession relating in any way to her claims. In response, they failed and refused to produce any evidence, including that which she apparently showed you guys tonight and claims to possess. At an appropriate time, we'd be happy to address further questions and any misinformation that Crystal and the others have shared, which we hope to review and evaluate further. And then we would ask that you kindly refer to the verified complaints on file with you.
He was so, I mean, this guy, I think we call him, by the way, do you know that his username handle was Towable Daisy?
Yeah.
Allegedly. Towable Daisy. And he was on Coffeezilla, got caught about this, whatever story about using a U-Haul to tow something. Like, wouldn't Towable Daisy know better than that stupid ass story? I don't know. He's diabolical. Like, I think he's like almost more evil.
We did refuse to hand over Discovery. I will. He is telling the truth about that because they have refused to hand over Discovery as well. So at that time, they had sent us that email and said, we want you to give us all this stuff. And our attorney was like, yeah, when you hand over all of this stuff. And so I'm like, she's like, we're not handing over everything without a reciprocal action on his part. But the way he phrases it is so malicious.
It is
right?
malicious. It's disgusting. And he makes it sound like based on evidence, but then he just said you didn't give him any quote evidence.
Yeah.
So it's like he
Yeah.
talks out of both sides of his mouth. I cannot stand this guy. And then I read this is Matthew McNevin. I said that there's a pattern of legal threats. Matt McNevin, this was his email to MGS Bricks. Did you see this one where he said it was diabolical? But the part that I pulled out, it says, you should immediately preserve all communication. This is to this 18-year-old kid, okay? You should immediately preserve all communications and materials relating to this matter. That includes Instagram DMs, texts, emails, call logs, recordings, deleted message drafts, notes, share valid posts, comments, and communications with Ben Mansell, Crystal Law, or anyone else connected to the situation. And it's like, so they keep throwing your name out there, but they don't have the cojones to add you to their lawsuit originally because they couldn't, because you're suing them. And oh my God, like they could have added us as a defendant in that lawsuit from the very beginning. They can't now. Why do you think they didn't initially? Do you have a theory?
I can only speculate on that.
Okay.
That I can't act. I have my own suspicions why. But I can only speculate as to why. I don't think it's a difficult logical leap to ask why, from people that use lawsuits as a threat, why they would be hesitant to enter into a lawsuit with me.
Because they knew you're in the wrong, and it would taint their case.
Or
right?
there's things in Discovery that if they
that they don't want coming out,
they would be required to provide.
Well, and you were already suing them at that point too, which is like so funny. They failed to mention that part. I know, Rachel, you said that he was not a minor at the time, but he was a teenager. Okay. He was in high school or whatever. Like it was still like, it was diabolical what they did. And then Michelle said, hype train for Aussie Fund, your hip fund, justice for Tattle. And hey, all chat peeps hit that like, so hit that like, especially for Crystal. Crystal's here. All of her, you can buy her shirts and support the GoFundMe. All of that's in the description. So I just want to keep going on that note though, because yes. Okay. So the Streisand effect, because I think was it in that clip or the next clip? I need to see, maybe that's coming up, but so they keep trying to silence everyone. And ACOB does say something where he said something like, oh, I thought it was was it not in that clip? I played that really fast. It might be coming up, but he says that, like, why do you keep trying to shut all these things down? And he's just like, well, they're lies. And they still don't realize that it makes it worse. And the Streisand effect. And like, this is like way after, I don't think a lot of people that are like following this case would have even known about my channel, because I don't have any relation at all to Legos. I don't even own Legos or anything. And the marketing director reported my video. And at that point, I got all these people subscribed and were like, I'm only liking and subscribing because they tried to bully you into silence. And like, that was the only reason. And so I just don't understand how these guys are still like this. They're insane. Like, they really are absolutely insane. Yeah, I know you can't comment on that, but that's okay. So Did you, okay, so here's another question. Did you connect with Clutch Power Pod because he had mentioned the franchise lawyer he spoke with who's from Portland noticed glaring contradictions in the franchise agreement. And so I'm going to play that clip really quick. It's in the next clip. And I think your lawyer actually did talk on this, but I also have a visual.
Gorman unlawfully entered into a consignment agreement.
Consignment agreements are not unlawful. Unlawful means illegal, like that they're either not permitted by law or they're prohibited by law. So it's legal in Oregon to enter a consignment agreement. Now.
So that was the first part. So because they kept trying to say unlawful.
14A and 14B are inconsistent with one another. Failure to accurately report gross revenues.
Right, yeah.
Or to make payments of any amounts due us or any of our affiliates and do not.
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So I'm going to have to refresh this really quickly. Sorry, you guys. 1 second. Yeah, so just absolutely. So what, did you ever connect with Clutch Power Pod after you guys like talked on the live stream the other day?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I think he reached out to me. Honestly, the amount of messages on all the different platforms, I'm pretty sure he did reach out to me. No, somebody else reached out to connect us together.
So yeah, if you want, I can send another email, but okay, because here's the thing for people in the chat that don't know, he's an Emmy-nominated journalist. So he really did his homework. He met with this franchise attorney before his interview with the McNeffs to make sure he was really well versed on all the documents. And she read this for filth. And I can't, like, I just feel bad that I was only learning about this like recently because he was on top of this from the beginning. So what I have as a visual, it's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see in the colors because this is in the franchise agreement. There's 14A. Part 14 is about terminations and 14A is about immediate. And then 14B is if they have to give notice. So A is like they could do it without notice and B, they have to give notice. And
no, I'm gonna stop and correct you there. That's a common misconception because federal law always requires 30-day notice. There are certain restrictions certain exceptions when it comes to a car dealership. But the FTC requires a 30-day notice. The difference between an immediate termination and a termination is the right to cure. That's the only difference. So in an immediate termination, they do not have to give you the right to cure, the right to fix any problems, right? To catch up on payments or make any changes that they're using as the basis of their termination. So in that immediate termination, they don't have to give you the right to fix it. They only have to give you the 30-day notice. In the regular termination, they give you the right to fix those issues. And then if you don't fix those issues within that 30-day notice, the termination occurs. So that whole idea that an immediate termination can happen with no notice whatsoever is like a misunderstanding of that language itself.
Yes.
But also Utah and Oregon law both require that 30-day notice as well, no matter what the circumstances.
Yes. Okay. And she kind of mentioned something like that. And the only reason I was just going to play this part was, okay, so even if the 14A is like completely like not even allowed to begin with, even within this document though, and you can see with the color codes for A and B just show they literally contradict themselves. So it's like, it doesn't even make sense anyways for each side. And what she says about it, I thought was interesting. Let's hope this doesn't freeze again.
Inconsistent with one another. Failure to accurately report gross revenues.
Right, yeah.
Or to make payments of any amounts due us or any of our affiliates and do not correct this failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. That is the normal way of doing it. They have written in an inconsistent provision which eliminates that 10-day grace period. That's basically all it does. It is extremely uncommon to have immediate termination without a grace period for failure to make payments. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen that in 30 years in a franchise agreement.
I mean, especially when right below it says we do give you notice, actually.
Especially.
Yeah, so in her, what did she say, 20, 30 years, she's never even seen that. I mean, that should be alarm bells for everyone, especially current franchise owners. I mean, there's a lot of
Well, and
problems.
think about what that could mean. Think about if you're running on razor thin margins and you're in the middle of a brand crisis right now, and you are barely making rent. You are barely making those royalty payments. And if your bank processes your end of week credit card payments on a Friday, and you send out your royalty payment on that same Friday, but it doesn't process until Monday morning, but that payment was due on Friday, you're technically 2 days late. So, and that's that 10-day, right? You never, there's always that room based on, particularly if you're going from one bank to a different bank, a different brand type.
Yeah, exactly. And then Mean Panda says they didn't expect the human output machines to fight back. I guess they didn't, right?
For direction from the franchise.
Okay, and this was the last part on there. Someone said that the volume is low on these clips. Just this was the last one I was going to play of that because I just want to see Crystal's response to it.
And that's through the operations manual.
The agreement is what governs. The agreement then says you must comply with our procedures in the operations manual. But because the operations manual can be unilaterally changed by the franchisor, that allows them to change procedures. But if you have a right to provide consignment under your contract, I don't think that it's doable to prohibit consignment under the operations manual. Right. Well, they agree to follow it, but if it contradicts the agreement, I think the contract would be the key thing. This is especially important because most franchisors don't show a franchisee the operations manual until after they sign the franchise agreement. So she would have no way of knowing that consignments were prohibited, and her agreement says they're not.
It says Crystal Law Gorman unlawfully entered into a consignment agreement.
Consignment agreements are not unlawful. Unlawful means illegal, like that they're not either not permitted by law or they're prohibited by law. So it's legal in Oregon to enter a consignment agreement. Now.
So yeah, the ops manual part 2 was interesting that you don't see that usually until after. So for them to say that it governs everything, I mean, they are constantly just like talking crap. I mean, they have no idea, or they have no idea really what they're talking about.
You can't say we have this document that's ever changing and can be changed at any time with no notice. We're not even going to tell you that it's changed. You're just supposed to magically know. But say that overrides the contract that you have legally signed. That's not how that works. But also they don't provide the operations manual until after you have signed that franchise agreement. So they're asking you to abide by regulations that could cost you your business sight unseen. But also they don't provide the operations manual to every store owner. And ask me how I know this.
Because you didn't see it. And
I never got it.
Yeah.
I saw the operations manual the same time everybody else saw it when it was released.
Yes. And then they tried to hide it, which just confirmed for all of us that it was legit because.
And I will say again, I will say again, that had I seen the operations manual before I signed the franchise agreement, I would not have signed the franchise agreement. I would have never affiliated myself with a company that was actively training its franchisees on how to manipulate and take advantage of neurodivergent people and children.
It's disgusting.
It's revolting.
Yeah.
It tells me everything I need to know about you as a human being, that you look at those words that you have put onto paper and think that that's okay.
Yeah. And I think what's crazy is that it was so insane that at least there was a little tiny bit of, at least a little bit of doubt out there because it was so crazy. It's like, maybe this isn't really real. But then Matt McNeff had to go and file the takedown notice where he basically said it was taking like, proprietary work or copyrighted work. And it's like, so you're owning this now. So now we do know. Thanks for confirming how disgusting you guys really are.
I'm
So-
still here. I'm just going to turn my camera off temporarily, but I'm
okay.
still
So
here.
really quick, we have CMAD says they are essentially rigging the casino games in favor of the house. I agree with that. 100%. And that's basically what her whole lawsuit says. And then thank you for the super chat. Mean Panda says it must be a misunderstanding and Amanda entered the illegal consignment agreement. Now it makes sense. Thank you, Mean Panda. You're always a good laugh and good support. And thank you. Just Khaleesi says human output machines, hit the like button. Thank you, Just Khaleesi. Thank you for being such an amazing mod. And so we're going next. I think there's one more clip. Oh, no, this is something else. So do you have any of the Slack saved? I remember you said like they kind of locked you out right away.
Yeah, immediately. No, I didn't even, I honestly, that night it had never even entered my mind that I should go into Slack and save what I could. I didn't even think about it until we had driven home. I didn't think that I should be going into the email and forwarding anything. It never even entered my mind in the stress and the shock of what was happening that night.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. And the Pun King says they locked her right out. They didn't cut her any slack. Haha, good one, Pun King. And then, okay, so the reason I say that is because I'm not sure if you remember this, but when they sent that letter out to the franchisees in the beginning, remember that this is going to blow over in 3 to 7 days or whatever?
Yeah.
In there, they told the owners that it says, additionally, further video statements from Ammon have been uploaded directly to the #announcements general channel. Please take a few minutes to watch these video 1 and video 2 for more information. I was like, by the way, just make sure that in the discovery, these come out because now they just admitted they exist, these 2 videos.
I'm not sure that I've seen this.
Okay. So
what is this from?
So remember when they sent the letter out to the franchisees about how this is going to blow over in a few days?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
This was in there. And because we had just reread it on my channel like last week. And there was a few things that stood out to me. And this one, I was like, I need to make sure. And my chat, we were like, we need to make sure Crystal sees this. So I screenshotted it. And I was like, because I know you'll be asking for discovery of all these things. And I was like, now that we know that these 2 videos exist, make sure you get them. And then also on that note, I said, by the way, because they kept talking about threats, I'm personally, after reading the RICO lawsuit, I'm convinced that the threats came from inside BAM. That's just my opinion, allegedly, because there's no metadata. It was really weird, the date and timing of a lot of it. And I don't know, in my opinion, I think they made, because you could just go onto their website and put in anything and send it as a comment. And so I think a lot of threats came from inside the house, but that's just me allegedly. Okay, so let me get to the next question. Okay. Yes, so the Kaiser police report, and you had mentioned that you guys, after that came out, the 34-page one, that's when you guys were like, hold on, let's read this before we file our amended complaint. But the report says that the DA refused to prosecute. Do you think that the BAM lawyers reached out to her to influence that decision? For example, they told her it was a quote, like private civil matter.
I don't know about that. I can't comment about like what may have happened in that circumstance. Sorry, I stepped outside to take the dogs outside and the neighbors are very loud right now. I hope you can still hear me okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine that, I mean, it's one of those status things, right? I imagine this is similar to what happened in American Fork. I imagine it's similar to what happened in Provo and Kaiser. Is you're getting stories from 2 different people, and I think unfortunately what tends to happen within the justice system and particularly within police departments is you believe the person that you believe has the higher status in a situation like that. So you're looking at Ammon saying, I'm the CEO of this nationwide chain, and we have this stellar reputation. And I'm telling you all of this stuff while not providing any evidence, just saying I have the evidence. I haven't seen any of it. I don't think anybody's seen any of it yet. And then they're also saying he's just this YouTuber that pulls these pranks, and he's been
Yeah.
arrested before, and he does all these illegal things. And she was selling heroin out of the store, and she stole everything and fled the country. And so I don't know whether it's like I doubt it was some sort of bribery thing going on. I suspect it was more of what we see happen time and time and time again in the US in the Justice Department.
Well, this
Justice
is-
tends to follow status.
Well, Lemon Pound Cake Win says, no, this has to be a civil lawsuit before it can become criminal. The reason is because they know each other and because they have a signed contract. So it must be civil first, period, end of story. Okay. So, but also, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they reached out personally to the DA as well and just been like, yeah, just ignore everything. But the other thing that I just said, LOL, this part of it, because there was a relationship addendum that said Brandon Best, relationship friend of Joshua.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
They can't seem
I got
to,
here. Do you think that
none of them can seem to get their stories straight. And this is one of the things that's like in our lawsuit, one of those, show us the evidence of the timelines. Nobody can seem to get their story straight about when the takeover was planned, who was taking over the store, who had ownership when. Josh is claiming and Brandon are claiming they're just representatives of corporate. Kai is claiming as of the night of November 14th, as of that termination letter, Brandon is the new owner of the store. Brandon's telling the police that he's just there as an operative of corporate. Like, nobody can get their story straight about who owns what when.
No, it is. They're crazy. And we went over that the other day too, because it was like, oh, another franchise owner came in to help Brandon do the inventory. But it was like, okay, but you never disclosed that he was a franchise owner in the franchise disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
So they're just, they're digging their own grave. And I'm
Also,
just sitting
like,
here watching.
We know Brandon did an inventory that night. We don't know how he did it, and we don't know where that inventory is at. How, make any of that make sense?
Yeah. None of it makes sense. So, okay, really quick. So I'm going to play a clip really quick.
I got here. Do you think that's helpful to change the narrative of what's going on right now?
I think that
you're taking care of business. I get it from the corporate side, but when we're telling you in the court of public opinion, and by the way, dude, taking down the videos and striking channels and all that is only going to fan the flame. And these videos are already out and they're going to be re-uploaded. You are not stopping that train.
For sure. But what it does do is it stops mistruth and lies from being spread. And frankly, again, at this point, a judge has looked at the evidence and said there's enough here that they have a high likely success or chance of success in winning this court case, which is frank. It's a RICO and racketeering case. We believe that there's organized crime. We believe that there is money being exchanged to essentially induce people to commit crimes.
This was something that Eamon had mentioned to me last night, was that.
Yeah. So, I did,
but we have no evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, did you look through the evidence that they included with that filing?
I did.
And says a judge looked at our evidence and said, we believe there's enough here that you would win this case. Our attorney looked at that and went, the fact that a judge signed off on this, what's the word that I'm looking for without hearing from the other opposing side? There's a pro se.
Yeah.
And also the fact that as soon as our lawyer filed an appearance to be heard in that case, in conjunction with Reckless Ben filing we want to move it, corporate backed down on that TRO immediately. Backed down on that. Our lawyer steps forward and says, you've named them all over this. We're now exercising our right to be heard in front of you.
Well, and that's also why in the beginning I asked how you got your lawyer, because they were so good. And I was really impressed how they filed that so quickly to be hello, she's not even part of this fucking case. Sorry for swearing, but it's so ridiculous. And they and him in this interview, just saying these lies, the judge the judge didn't look at any evidence. What are you even talking about? You guys, they haven't been able to prove any evidence for anything. And this is to me, this is not a real leader. And I said, it's scary that so many livelihoods are in the hands of these idiots, because even this part, it's okay, I'm just, my grandfather recently passed, and he had a few businesses, and so I always got to witness how he handled big things like this. And the one thing he always took to heart was that other people's livelihoods, like their families, and to put food on the table, relied on what he did. And there were some times, legal things came up, and he would fight and do the right thing. And there was this one time I remember this one customer is like basically trying to extort him. Like it was really bad. And I was like, and my grandfather was like, we're just going to shut it down. I was like, no, like he's lying. Like we all know he's lying. And he's like, I don't care. It needs to go away because, I don't want this to go on to anyone else. And so they shut it down and they made it go away, because that's what leaders do. What these idiots are doing is they're like, oh, all of our franchises, like poor them, like they're getting the heat of this because these guys keep making it worse. Like everything they do is making it worse, and they are making this worse for the franchise owners. They are doing that. That's not anyone else. That's them for not dealing with this like adults and addressing it. Sorry, I had to go off, but because it's just infuriating to me to see what he's doing here.
Yeah. And that's the thing is part of that, and I've said this before, part of that franchise agreement, part of the thing that you are agreeing to is protecting when you sign up to own a franchise, the thing that corporate tells you you're getting from them is brand recognition. Mm-hmm. And you have a responsibility to protect that brand, but corporate also has a responsibility to protect that brand. That language goes both ways. Mm-hmm. And they could have solved this they could have stopped all of this from happening November 14th. Mm-hmm. They could have solved this when Brian walked into the store. They could have called me. They could have reached out to our attorney in Oregon at the time. They could have asked any questions. They could have clarified anything. When Reckless Ben showed up to the store and talked to Josh, instead of saying, yeah, we have them, but you're being mean to me, so I'm not going to give them back. Or when he went to corporate headquarters and faced Ammon McNeff, who crosses his arm and says, nope, never happened. Every single step of the way, they have made choices that continues to harm their own brand, continues to put the livelihoods of every single franchisee at risk.
I mean, I don't think anyone should have ever known about Joshua Johnson and Brandon Best. Like to see that barefoot freak, like act the way he acted on camera, and to that, the fact that like that is someone that is at corporate, I was like, what the hell is going on at corporate? Like that is scary. And actually, I think I have a clip of him coming up speaking of that, but this should have never even gotten out to the public. And the other thing, like you said, they had access to all they had their own cameras in the store. Yours, they had theirs.
Well, let me clarify. They had cameras. They had the Lorax cameras that were there when I started, and they had the password and login information available to them on the Salem Google Drive to access those cameras. And I know they had access to those because when I went to my manager training, they watched the previous manager on video while they were on those cameras, while they were firing her to make sure that she didn't do anything. Brandon is walking around the store with a camera, with a phone in his hand for 2 hours that night. And you're telling me they're going to make the claim that I was belligerent, that I was removing cartfuls of stuff from the store. And there is footage, there are cameras everywhere, and you can't provide any evidence to that. There's
nothing. And if they had, like, that's what I'm saying. As
it's Occam's razor right there. Like, right? It's Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually the right explanation here. And provide the documents, provide the evidence.
But the fact that as the CEO and COO or whatever the hell they are, the McNeff brothers, the fact that like they didn't right away be like, pull the footage, let's watch it for ourselves to see what happened. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But like that is one of like the most basic things they could have possibly done that would have saved them a lot of headache. Who knows what the hell? I think, in my opinion, because they did know that like, there was a large amount of money involved with this consignment, these things that weren't theirs. I think they thought it was cheaper just to try to threaten you with, threaten you and Brian and sue the victim for RICO, though. I mean, that's insane. That has to be one of the dumbest that's going to go down in history as one of the dumbest things any business has ever done, I think.
I think threatening, I know. I don't even have to say I think. I know threatening threatening their franchisees to make them quietly go away and accept the termination letter and sign that NDA had worked for them in the past. I have spoken to those owners.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
It had worked. And they were counting on it being able to work again. I suspect they were probably counting on the fact that they knew we were moving overseas. Yeah. I suspect they were counting on the fact that Brian was not going to be able to access the legal recourses that it would cost to file a claim. I suspect they were operating under that presumption. Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of people do pour their entire life savings, so then they can't. Yeah. They have nothing left to, and it's really hard to get a lawyer when you're out everything. And then here's a quick super chat. It says, "Hey Chris, been fist pumping since the amended complaint came out. Yeah, thank you for the support, Julie Secret. Seriously, I was too. I was like, oh my God. I was screaming. I was so excited. And then CMAD, thank you for the super chat. Says Kaiser PD should have went next door to that rehab next to your store. There's a camera pointing right at your store. It's on the side of the back entrance above the handicap ramp. Google Maps Street View."
Yeah. I will just have to say, based on my own experience with the Kaiser Police Department for the break-ins that we had 4 break-ins in the span of just over a year by the same 2 people. And I provided video footage on all of those and never heard anything back from the police department. I don't know if y'all know this, but legally, the police don't have to investigate crimes. That's not in their legal responsibilities. They are not required to investigate crimes. That's how our legal system works. If it is not, if it does not benefit them in some way, they have no responsibility to expend the resources to investigate. And I am hesitant to jump on, to go to any wider conspiracy other than this is how the justice system in the United States is designed to work. It's working the way it's designed to work. And it does not surprise me.
Well, the internet's working the way it was designed to work. And so
that's what BAM wasn't counting on.
That exactly. And then Mean Panda says, I mean, I really truly believe the McNeffs are legitimately just that stupid to not understand how to run a business. I think Ammon's quote, "We didn't search every nook and cranny" quote is underreported. Well, we just said it out loud here, and I agree with you there. And then Tyrannosaurus Rex gave a $5 super chat, says, "Evil people always accuse others of exactly what they themselves are doing. It's a mainstay of the left." Well, I can't even. I mean, these guys, though, are so bad at it, too. And that was the other thing. It's hard to think like them because they're so psychotic. So they kind of keep outing themselves with all these, theories. Oh, Brian Mansell hired this YouTuber and him and Crystal hired this YouTuber to, really? That doesn't even make sense.
So I can't say how I know it, but I have definitive evidence that Ammon was lying in the "we didn't have that" statement in that CoffeeZilla. We didn't look in every nook and cranny. We never had that when he's talking about the inventory list. I can definitively prove when they got that list. And they got that list outside of it being on the Google Drive that CoffeeZilla points out. They had that list significantly in advance of all of these statements to the police department and online about when they didn't have it.
Well, because they were accessing all of your internal documents, right? Everything you had, and so
they had the ability to access all of that. They did access it to a point where they pulled from the email a rough draft version of the consignment agreement. So we do, and they use that in their own. They use that in their own filing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, but I can't confirm that they actually accessed outside of a forensic investigator when they accessed the actual consign, like the inventory document in that drive. I do know that they received that inventory document well before they've claimed that they've seen it.
And then once again, just going back to that really simple, like one sentence in your lawsuit where it's like, they never even asked Crystal to give anything back. And because the reason why is because they knew she didn't freaking have anything or take anything. Sorry, Tyrannosaurus Rex says it's T-Rex. It's not T-Rex, it's T-Rick. Okay. All right. I got it. T-Rick. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for the support. Okay. So moving on. Okay. So now I want to get into the whole tattle of it all. And before that, I just want to say a quick thing. So I have my Justice for Tattle song that's completely wacky and crazy. And I just want to give a quick note behind the song that there is a method to my madness, because for me, like something like this is so dark and it's so disturbing. And I think it's hard to tell the story. And like you said, sometimes dark humor is the way to go. And so to make it so like out there and like bizarre helps at least it kind of maybe get around, and at least people pick up different parts of the story, and it's not like anything of a disrespect or whatever. I get a lot of hate about it being AI, even though I wrote it myself. And if I did sing it, you guys would be begging me to use AI, but we are in the works. We've had a few people volunteer to sing. We even had someone else, like Caitlin in the chat, she wants to sell her Legos to get like a Mormon choir. I mean, so we're still working. It's a work in progress, but I want to say like this is a huge part of the story for me, like why I'm still like in this case. And so on that note, you guys, really quick, you want to show your shirt again? This is already linked in the description if you want to pick up your Justice for Tattle shirt. Look how cute this is.
I mean, it's backwards, but yes, I'm really pleased with how it came out. I got it on the purple tank top because I prefer to wear tank tops over t-shirts. I find them thanks to perimenopause, I get hot flashes and t-shirts feel claustrophobic. But it is available on the t-shirt and the tank top in a bunch of different colors. So, and
it's so cute. I'm wearing it right now. My avatar is wearing one, but I'm wearing one too, and I love it. And so just
it came out really. I'm really pleased with how well it came out. And I will again give you credit for that little brick on the bottom, because that was this was y'all got to know this was a collaborative effort between the two of us. I had sent you 3 different versions of it to kind of help clean up the design and decide which one to go with. And then we kind of ended up taking pieces from all 3.
Yeah.
And combining them in one. And so I'm really proud of how it turned out.
Yeah, and I think like it all like pulled it together, but really this was like from you. Like you are Tattle's mom. You could see like your heart and soul into it. And it was just like, it was the craziest thing. I was like, I wonder if we could put him on the brick by brick. And so now like it's so funny wearing it. And by the way, this offer still stands. If anyone lives by the corporate store in Orem and you want to go in the store, I will send you a shirt for free to wear into that store.
I will also do that.
Yeah, because I just think like it's a good conversation starter, and let's get right into that. Oh, I see you, Rose. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to this. She says there's an update, but let's get
come on. I made a bet before this started that I knew. Rose, I'm going to tell you again, they do this on purpose. I know you're sitting behind the computer. I love it. They know I'm joking. I love it. But I know they pick when the lives are going, and just like, they're like, okay, now's the time.
I can't even imagine the amount of information they have over there and how to like sort through it and when to
sheer volume of work that is going into that is amazing. And I joke, but they know we appreciate it, and they know that our attorney very much appreciates it. The 3 raccoons in a trench coat has entered the chat here. So yeah.
Seriously. And also, and I appreciate it too, because I also know this is, I'm sure, like every time that it says like an update, I'm sure it's like everyone at corporate is like, like, what is it this time? You know, I love it. And I hope that they feel like some sort of stress that they've caused everyone else to feel. So we're going to get to that, but let's just get through the title.
Sorry. I'm going to respond to a comment right now. You don't live in the US, but I will send you a shirt if you wear it to Legoland Absolutely. There is a contact link. You posted the link to this in the show thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you go on the Not a Pipe Publishing website, on the store website, there's a contact us link on it that comes to the email. There's also a contact link in my own, like my YouTube profile. Reach out to me and I will send you a shirt. And absolutely 100%. Right, so yes.
Arnil, I'm not even going to say this right. Am I Arnilso? So definitely the link again, it's in the description. Just click on that for the store and contact Crystal about the Legoland in Denmark, and she'll said to send you a shirt. Kenny's ordering her purple one right now. She also lives by a Bricks and Minifigs, so I think kind of maybe by the Eugene one. I don't know, but maybe
honestly, if you are wearing, we have this one, and then we have a give me just a moment. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna step off camera real quick.
No problem.
And then I'm gonna continue addressing this.
Okay, so she's gonna go get something off camera. We have the description again. The mod, I think the mod's already posted. It's in the description of the video. So maybe while she's looking, should we look?
I'm back. It's very quick. I had it in the dishwasher. So one of the things that I can do from my end of the Shopify store, because we sell it through Shopify, is I can order samples of it, and then I can create an order. So for those people that are gonna I'll wear it into my local store, I'll wear it to Legoland, any of that. Please reach out, because I am absolutely willing, but you got to promise that you're going to tag me on whatever platform. So and we have
the contact info is right here. Christina posted it.
Yes. One thing that I can also do is create my own products. So I did this just for myself, but let me know if it's something. There's also, if you have a shirt idea, I can't keep track of everything in these lives, all the comments. That's how the Justice for Tattle one. You reached out to me. If you have an idea, something that you'd like to see, if I have a design, but you want it on a coffee mug or you want it on a hat, tote bag, send a message through that contact and I can create that item and then let you know and send you a link to that item. Because what I did is I made a coffee mug for myself, and the camera's going to be backwards, but that's just because I don't want to turn it around.
Oh, it's so cute.
So what I did is we have the Justice for Tattle. And then we have can you see? I don't know if you can see.
Oh, yes, it's a Lego version of you.
Yeah, somebody made a Lego version of me, and then I'm wearing in it you guys will see me wearing this on Wednesday because I'm doing another live on Total AFOL. But it's my I Am Not Amanda shirt. And then we also have the Schrodinger's U-Haul shirt. So
so cute.
Yeah. So any of those shirts, if you want me to send you one of those and you will wear it into
Lemon Pounding.
Don't harass anybody.
This is not, we never said that.
Yeah.
Sure. Disclaimer, please don't harass anyone while wearing the shirt. We never said that. It's a conversation starter.
Yes.
Because I think that it is an important part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And then
it's also a way to help. It's also a way to help fund our legal fund too.
Yes.
So,
and T. Rick said he was thinking of getting a Tattle shirt, but he was happy to pay for it. Exactly. It's a way to support their fund. And also, if you don't even want the gear and you just want to donate, your GoFundMe is also listed in the description. And so Bryson says the blog post from BAM showing the bird was so messed up. I didn't even make a slide about that because, you guys
don't just placed an order. You guys are amazing.
Someone just placed an order. That's so cool.
I just got a notification on my phone that you guys are amazing. Thank you for whoever ordered the purple one.
You said she just ordered. So
I will say once again that the shirts do tend to run smaller. So order a size larger. I put the size guide on all of the products. But I don't know if anybody else is like me, where you look at something in inches and you're just like, I don't know what that means. I don't want to do that conversion.
There's also stickers and other things. Yeah. So you guys just look at it. And then Lemonade Man says, I'll wear it and ask if the Eugene store is hiring. You guys are so funny. So, but yes, someone mentioned, I pulled it off the screen. Sorry, about the Bryson, about the the blog post was so messed up. You guys, when I saw that, I saw it in the like maybe the beginning of the day or something, and it took me the entire day to make a video, which I made on it. And even then, I was still so mad. I still had to edit out parts of it because it was one thing to do the blog post about moving with the Star Wars Legos, right? Like that's tone deaf, that's crazy, that's insane. Okay, let's give them maybe some benefit of the doubt. It's just they're just insane, you know. It was a coincidence. This time I was like, this is not a coincidence, and I'm pissed. Like I was legitimately pissed, and there's nothing else I could do in the video. I was like, it is what it is. I was so mad.
If it's not malicious, it's in poor taste.
It is.
That's like, and to address another comment, send me a message through the contact if you want any of the items on a different thing. Any of the designs, a shopping bag. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Send me a contact and specify, do you want like a tote bag? Do you want like, send me those details. If you want it on a hat, a hoodie, a dog sweater, a bandana, send me a message and then I can create those. Cause it takes, if I went through and created every available item for all of the designs, it takes forever, but I'm totally willing. And I'm still working a full-time job. For now, I'm really excited because I get to take a 3-week medical leave. Yay!
Well, I hope you're okay.
I've been dealing with issues with my knee, and it's taken a while to get through the doctor stuff to actually get to the point. I've got like ligament and kneecap and patella issues, but
is it available tattoo to Brandon's forehead since the bunking? Yeah, I'll pay for that. Yeah, so I'm so sorry about that, Crystal, but I wish you the best, like in recovery, and lawsuits are draining too. So I was gonna say I have a slide for that coming up about taking care of yourself. But I just wanted to quickly just go over the tattle part because that is a huge part of the story for me personally. I love animals; they're my life, and so. This part, I mean, I've tried to scream it at the rooftops. I make sure any post I have is always going to mention tattle because this part of it is disgusting to me. And so just a few quick questions, though. When you bought tattle, who was named as the owner? Because you have to write down the name of the person who buys the animal. It wasn't the LLC, right?
So not the LLC, but it was, and this is one of those where I've been accused of deflecting, right? By some comments on that.
Yeah,
so there was a conversation that night that I don't have, the video isn't out there, of Kai and I discussing what we could and could not take. And anything that belonged to the store had to remain in the store. Tattle and tail and the cage and the food, the toys, everything was purchased with the store's card, with the store's account, through the pet store with the store's account, with the store's email. Mm-hmm. So tattle was technically store property, and they took that as tattle is store property, and has anything that belongs to the store has to remain in the store.
Okay, but when you buy an animal, you have to put your name. You can't put a store. So when you bought tattle, is your name listed as the owner?
I mean, so my name is listed as the account owner within the account at the pet store. Yes.
Yeah, so you are technically the owner. A business can't be the owner.
And that's one of those technicalities around.
I'm sorry. I mean, I just don't buy it. They say if something's bought with the store credit card, then they say, okay, this is a living thing. Here, reimbursed for these things that were bought with the card or whatever. You settle in a different way.
Sorry, I just got. That's one of those things that so much was happening that night, and there's so many things that I wish I could go back and do differently. I just saw this really great video, and somebody was saying you can't wish that you had handled something differently because it's already happened. It was a much longer, more involved thing. But, you know, Tattle, there's a lot of things that I would have done differently that night. There was also a lot of emotion and a lot of stress. And, and
you don't need to justify anything to me or to
I know, but there are people, again, and I've said this before and I will say it again. Nobody is going to criticize me more harshly than I will criticize myself ever. And that is one of the things that I wish I could change about that night.
Well, of course, but no one would let me just cut you off there though, because I want you to know no one would expect for them to do what they did. What they did is disgusting. And that's the problem. It's like no one knew that level of evil or sociopathicness would happen. I mean, just as a human being, you would not expect that. And so they made a joke, by the way, if you want to laugh here, because Gelf said that can we tattoo it on Ryan's perineum, Ryan Reynolds, because he makes a joke about that in the last lawsuit we covered. And then Anne says that perineum joke made me choke on my drink. Thank you, whoever said that. That was Gelf. He's a little jokester. So just, because I want you to know, though, like, seriously, no one could have predicted that. But I just want to go backwards though, real quick. And someone else said it too. Like you also, you bought toilet paper with the store credit card. They're not expecting that back. What if you were, out running around and you had to buy tampons or something with the store credit card? Are they going to ask for those back? Like sometimes that's not how it works. And but I want to go back because I've been in, I worked at the SPCA. I've been in rescue. I've been in I've worked with animal adoptions for a very long time. I've never seen it where someone puts an LLC or a company name as the name of the responsible owner. It is always a person. It has to be a person, especially if they're banded, and he was banded, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you're the owner, and they stole the bird from you, in my opinion. And the fact that they didn't even offer it back to you, that's where these are the worst
part
people.
of it is they could have, outside of their statements that night and space constraints in my car, they could have reached out to me at any point after that. And said, like, we're giving you a chance to come get it. They could have said, can you come into the store? We've got this guy coming in. We have questions. Can you walk us through this? And while you're here, like any number of those things they could have done. Nobody's going to criticize me about any of that harder than I'm going to be my own critic. So
Alex had a very cute comment. I just want to show you. It says, Chris didn't steal the Lego, but she did steal my heart. So I thought that was pretty sweet of a comment. And yes, and exactly. Tyrannosaurus Rex says, we love you, Miss Crystal. You're not to blame. Thank you for the super chat. And I agree. And so just to go back though, okay, because he was banded, right? So that means that he has a number. So this, for people that don't know, it's kind of like,
which I also, I can't get that information because the pet store account was with the Salem at Bricks and Minifigs email address. And I can't log into my app for that account without it sending a verification code to that email, which I no longer have access to.
So, technically, just so you know, though, that the place you bought him, they have to keep a copy of that.
And I'm sure, and that's one of those things, and people may say, why don't you already have that? That's one of those things that if we are able to get any kind of lead on the rescue, on where it went, we'll request those records. I have not had a chance to go back into that store and get that information yet.
Yeah. Well, because I just want people to understand, it's kind of like if you have a dog, or most people know, like if a dog or cat, you normally have them microchipped. They have a certain number. So if it, runs away or is lost, you can scan and then you can see who the owner is. So the birds have the same thing. It's called banded. So so Crystal, they technically they are supposed to keep all those records as well in case, it ever was found and scanned. And that's also one of the reasons I don't personally, I know this is I want to believe he was found and he's very happily somewhere. Okay. It would be really hard if someone who actually knew what they were doing with birds found it and was banded and it wasn't, they didn't scan, it would have gone back to Crystal. So I'm just saying to shut that down for anyone. And then also, because I learned this, I think it was from your interview with Luss. He said that or you said that you made the report with the non-emergency line in ACC after you saw on the camera Joshua Johnson putting Tattle's cage in the truck with the trash. And so I think that they and I'm guessing Kaiser PD didn't, you said that they never made
There
a
was no
report or
follow-up.
anything.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's insane to me. That's absolutely insane. I'm so sorry.
But again, it's not outside of what I was expecting from, based on my interactions with them previously with the store's breakups. It's like it's not outside of what I was expecting.
And I think you also said it really well on his stream that like it should not even take a lawsuit for them to just simply say, what shelter do you take the bird to? That's it. Just say. So, and the fact that they can't, and the fact that it even got that far, they should have just went to you. That's where, that's why I want to see these guys figuratively, be burned.
Yeah.
And then the part, okay, so that you kind of clarified this. So the part about being store asset, I said, was that speculation or real? So they said that, did they specifically, like, did they actually say, like, was this cage bought by the card with the card?
Yeah. Anything that was purchased by the store, anything that belonged to the store had to remain in the store. We had a whole conversation about this in the context of Brian's consignment. And I would have been able to take all of his stuff with me that night. Had that consignment agreement been between me privately and Brian, they would have allowed me to take it all with me. But because that consignment agreement was with the LLC, it had to remain behind. We had a whole conversation about it. I was allowed to take my personal effects, but not even all of them.
Not even all of that.
It was literally my sweater and my purse and the dog, like the pop-up dog crate that I had for when I took the puppies into the store. Like there was no time.
And because you even said like your insurance documents, you had a bunch of things in there, and you were we saw it. Yeah. Thank goodness that you guys had that footage, because it just that like everything ends right there. Because without, and that footage is the very beginning, like the beginning of the end for BAM, because right then and there you hear you talk about the consignment, you show the receipts, you hear Kai say that basically dismiss the entire consignment thing and say that like we're taking that on as the new owners. You see him like basically like hounding you out of like to get out of the store, and hey, Last Relic, good to see you. He says BAM can suck it. He had one, I went over one of Last Relic's live streams where he finally like kind of let loose and said what he really thinks about all these people, and I'm been saying,
little jealous of that ability.
Yeah, but that's also
One
I think
day.
he sometimes I feel like the Last Relic will sell himself short for like not being able to fight back or take action. I was like, no, you're doing just fine. What you're doing is fighting back. Like you're using your words and you're telling the truth, and you have receipts, and like it basically backs up everything that you're having to do legally. So I think both of you have just been these forces to be reckoned with, and then all of us are backing you guys, and it's I think it's a very complimentary to have both of you guys you're fighting it in the both ways that you guys can. And so, and then my next question for Tattle, I said, hey, you Lego laundering liars, where's the bird? And because that's not a hard thing at this point to answer. And I think that this is going to sink them when this gets out, because there are still people who don't really know the whole Tattle story. And, shout out to Maddie, Maddie Appleseed just did a video about everything. And he was all up about the Tattle thing.
I don't think I've watched that one yet.
Okay, so he mentions it in there, and I think that was just his first video. I'm sure there's going to be more, and then apparently it's going to be in one of the upcoming, maybe in one of the upcoming like Reckless Ben things, maybe. And
all I'm going to say is there's some upcoming videos that are that I am really looking forward to. They're gonna there's a couple coming out.
I can't wait for part 4 to drop. And then the Last Relic says, I'd rather use my fist to fight back, but that's frowned upon. So that was really funny too, because he's an MMA fighter, like he does mixed martial arts, and he challenged the McNeffs. He's like, let's come to my ring because it's a fair playing field. I'll give you a fight camp, and then we'll fight in the ring, and we'll sell tickets, and the money will go to charity. It was really great, but those guys wouldn't know how to fight to save their life, so it was not going to happen. But I thought it was a very it was from his heart. It was a really good stream. Oh, and Rose Investigate said Maddie is releasing a new video soon. Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Maybe I thought you were talking about that. Oh my goodness, you all no, guys, calm down. Calm down. Something scared the dogs, and they tend to get like, one of them got tangled up in the string of lights on the back porch yesterday and just took out everything on the porch.
Oh no.
Something scared that. What is happening here? Guys, it's
Well, the last thing I'll say,
a leaf from the flower fell on her head.
Hey, barbecue,
and freaked her out.
We have barbecue counselor here. Hey, barbecue counselor, how you doing? And I saw your comment on the other stream, what the joke you made about my bird cage being the same size as the bird. But that, I make all these slides myself, so I try really good. So barbecue counselor's been on this too, and he's made some very good,
yes,
content that I'm sure is also scaring them to death and breaking down. I think maybe that's where I first saw that. Oh my God, this is actually a RICO charge. So,
the live that you did that morning was amazing. Yeah, I was up. I woke Ben up for that to get him up, because neither of us wanted to miss that. And I was on my way to work, so I was actually listening to it on my way to work. And then for the first "Don't Tell My Boss," but like half an hour of my job. But
well, we love it. And yeah, Alex says that the bird's the same size as Joshua Johnson. Well, I'm trying, like, this is the best I could do. So I'm not good at any of this stuff, but I try my best. So basically, those that are cruel to animals never stop there. And I think that's why this part really disturbs me about what they did to Tattle, because, like, especially again, with my background with animals and in rescue and whatever, people that harm animals, it never stops there. It's usually the worst of society. And so these disgusting people, and the fact that they're like, there's been so many poor decisions, by corporate, but to not like even speak out about this at all, about anything, and to even still be suing the Mansell and Reckless Ben and everything for RICO alongside these two dumbasses and it's disgusting, and it's going to make the Bricks and Minifigs look even worse. Like, it's going to make the brand, I think it's going to tank them in the end. And then I also just want to let you know, in case you haven't heard this part yet, but so now when we're getting information from anonymous sources, they will say, hey, say it's from Tattle, or like a little bird told us. So the community, we're invested in keeping like the lore of Tattle alive, and everyone is invested in seeing justice for this little baby. And I, honest to God, and I know I'm sure for you it's like so hard to even talk about or address. So like, I will shut down anything that anyone has to say about like coulda, woulda, shoulda, fuck you. Because at the end of the day, no one did anything bad to that bird except for those assholes. They're the only ones who need to respond to anything.
Yeah, Ben does this to me, and it's just like, you can't take the criticism to heart. But like, we could say that. We all know that's not how it works, though. Like we, logically speaking, I can look at it from one way, but emotionally it doesn't. Again, nobody's gonna. We are our own harshest critics, and there's a lot of things that I wish I could go back and do differently. I can't change any of those things. What I can do is do what I'm doing now. And
look at my mod will tell you, Christina, she's been my mom, since I've been on YouTube. She says DFJ dropping F-bombs and nothing will upset her more than animals being mistreated. Exactly. Again, after I saw that blog, it just triggered me.
He knows we're talking about.
Oh, hello.
He knows. He's got, like, you can't tell, but he's got his head. He's standing right next to me with his head like laid on the table, looking as utterly pathetic as he possibly can, because I'm not paying attention to him. And a flower petal fell down, and he really wants to be able to eat it. And so he's like, if I just lay here and look pathetic, then you'll give it to me. But you can't have that.
Well, what is absolute sweetheart. And also, this is from Zan. Thank you for the super chat for the support. Says anyone who sees humans as output machines cares even less for animals. I think all of them are evil. And so they just keep sinking themselves with their own words. But yeah, just to wrap up on the Tattle part, I just want to say though, like the internet is behind you. I think it's united everyone, like of all around the board, and Team Les and Alex, they were working on it. They made calls to everyone who takes in any sort of pet within 50-mile radius of Salem. So don't worry. We are going to make sure that this is not going to be forgotten. Okay. So we're going to get to an end somehow. Like we will not let BAM live this down. You have my support on this until the end, just letting you know.
I appreciate every bit of it.
And by the way, justice for Tattle. And so moving on to the next thing, looking back, do you see any red flags at all? Like now that we're here on this side?
It's dying and they can't. Sorry, 1 second.
No, it's okay.
They're starting to fall down. They can't. Can you grab the whole thing and all those petals? They can't eat them. Thank you. Sorry. My plant is dying and they're orchids. And so the petals are starting to fall down from the shelf, and I had to pull Ben out here to grab them before any of the dogs eat them. Speaking of animals, I don't want to unintentionally poison my dogs.
No, don't be sorry.
It's up and way out of the way, but they all it looks like they all started dying at once.
It's a good PSA because even with cats or dogs, certain plants can be toxic. So it's just better to be safe than sorry and bring them outside.
Sorry.
So
no worries. I wasn't going to be able to focus on anything else until
brain right
that was it.
We have a lot of ADHD going on here and in the chat. So we're all good.
Yeah. Red flags, honestly, look, hindsight makes those red flags absolutely glaring. So many red flags that I would have, like so many red flags that I missed. And sometimes it's like very small red flags that when it's just one or two, you overlook them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or, going back to the beginning after the franchise agreement with the first one should have been them telling me asking them, are you guys going to pay the taxes, the income taxes for the year that I was manager, and them saying, well, go ahead and pay those this year. And me going, okay. Or, the lease, the bank account, our card processor not working because they didn't get the paperwork turned over to Heartland in time, the gift cards never being reconciled. There are 1,000 red flags.
Did you ever meet Joshua Johnson or Brandon Best like before the takeover?
Not to my knowledge. And I have to say that because we know Brandon came in October.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know if I was there at work that day. So I have to say not to my knowledge. I don't know. But so much of it, I looked at it as, they're running this business and things are going to slip through the cracks, but none of it is malicious or intentional. It's only now outside of it and after all of it that I look at it, either you are wildly incompetent and you have no position to be claiming somebody else is a bad business person, or you are wildly unethical. There's you got to be one or the other. So many red flags that I wouldn't even know where to start.
She said you probably couldn't recognize Joshua Johnson with shoes. I agree.
That's fair.
Okay, wait.
I say that as I'm not wearing shoes right now, but I'm not outside talking to the police. It's so gross.
He's the one that called the police. He's the one that called the police. Actually, wait, I think I do have this. Hold on. It's the next clip. And then this is just something really funny, really quick, because May 27th is when they filed the RICO case, right? And then June 4th, this was only 8 days later, BAM Corporate announced that they were distancing themselves from Joshua Johnson, Brandon Best, but they never said they did anything wrong. They're just distancing themselves because of an internet campaign, right? And then, but this is why I was also screaming on August 14th with the amended complaint, because now they're back together again, because they were still together on the lawsuit, which is why I was so frustrated when they put out that statement. saying they distance themselves, because I'm like, no, they're not. They're still paying for their lawyers. Like they're still they're totally still part of all of this. And then now it's like, you just brought them all back together again. And it's going to cost me even more money. And it's just, this is going to be amazing. Like, I just can't wait. And really quickly, there's one more thing about Josh.
This is not very professional.
No, not at all. And like the second call, it was like he was eating lunch during the call in a way that was super unprofessional. So it started off on the wrong foot. He was late to the call, and like it was just bad from the get-go.
Hello,
there we go.
I love you.
So yeah,
I'm notoriously bad at writing. I might need another paper.
Yeah, we'll go
I love
from there.
American Police Department.
Yeah, so I just thought that was funny because it basically saved another his unprofessionalism saved another victim. And this is really funny. Wait, so we have a lot of parody accounts in the chat. Reed Brimhall sucks. It is a very common practice to take off your shoes if you're being stalked and feeling like you're in danger. And
that tracks.
And then the last relic said Josh is a pathetic person and thinks he's better and superior than everyone. It's impossible to forget meeting this douchebag. And that was the thing, is like he just was accusing everyone of like being on drugs. And I was like, the only one, in my opinion, that looks like they're on anything is Joshua. I'm like, what the hell? If he's not on something, I think needs to get his brain scanned because he acts like a freaking psycho. Like it's terrifying. Yeah, you call the police without they're coming. You don't put shoes on. You're eating a freaking apple. Like I just something's wrong with him. He's insane. Anyways, moving on from those losers, and so then okay. And then I was going to ask you, because I remember when you were talking about like, people coming into the store and you helping people pick out Legos. So I've never owned a set of Legos. Okay. So I wanted to know if you will help me pick out my very first Lego set.
Yes.
And I don't know how to do it. And so like, I made a little, like, these were the ones I kind of looked at, but I was like, I don't know how to do this. You need to tell me what to do.
Okay. So, I mean, the Halloween ones, I highly recommend getting the Halloween ones if you can, because any of those seasonal ones are, one, they're going to hold value, and they're going to get really, really hard to find. But it's also like a nice, small, fairly easy build, and it won't be super time consuming. So it's going to be a really good like first start. I would say there's some great little Christmas ones. There's like the little Christmas tree. They do a Christmas wreath. So there are some like really cute ones. So the parrots is going to be a little more time consuming. And so will the La Catrina. As you go like up in pieces, that's kind of how you have to decide. I was like, that one was so expensive, and I was like, I don't think I'll finish it by Halloween anyways. And it may be one of those things where, like, I love it. I love building Lego. This has not soured me on any of that, right? But there are people that are just like, I don't like it. And that's fair. I've talked to people that are just like, the instructions and the repetitive and the steps and stuff. There are some neurodivergent people that find that a really wonderful challenge and how it's been spaced out, and they love that. There are also some people that it's not their thing. So my advice is always to start small. And so something like that Halloween set would be really nice. Like, it's a really good start. Because it does give you for a lower price, it will give you a really good sense of whether it's going to be something that you're going to enjoy. And then, so I would probably skip out for now on those two in the middle. And then the creator, I love the creator sets. That's probably not the set I would recommend you start with, though. I love the creator sets because the way those are designed is there's 3 different builds in each creator set. So you can build one of 3 things, and then you can disassemble it and build the second of the 3 things or the third of the 3 things. So that's really nice if what you like. Some people like the build and display. Some people like the build and rebuild. Everybody's going to be a little bit different from that. Because of my previous job, I do not like to disassemble and rebuild. It's one of my least favorite. It's why I have 10 or 15 sets that in our move some pieces have come off and they're just sitting there because
Well-
I know the process of deconstructing and trying to figure out the one piece that came apart so my arm isn't attached.
Well,
It's
I
a
think, like-
nightmare, and I don't have time for that right now.
It doesn't need to be any of these. These were just kind of where I
Yeah.
started. And then I was like, okay, yeah, the ones in the middle were really expensive. I was like,
But
I
that's
don't
like
think-
that's my advice is the Halloween, like the holiday ones are really great. If you like botanicals or flowers, you can start with one of like the smaller botanical sets. They make like the little sets. And they're usually like $10.99 to $12.99. And those are really good to start. They have some creator sets. Right now they have I think it's the panda that they have, or the raccoon one that I've had my eye on.
Oh, you have a raccoon one? I should do that.
Yeah,
Raccoons in a trench coat.
I think, I'm not certain. I'd have to double check on that. But like, that's my recommendation is start small, because you don't know what part of it you're going to be drawn to. And you also don't know if you're going to get into it and just go like, this is not for me, because
So it's
it's not for everybody.
Was the 9 and up, is that like too amateur for me? Or like, I mean, I've
No.
never had any,
No,
so that would be okay.
I would never say like it's really, so the 4 and up, like the junior one is definitely the junior. And the way Lego separates out those age ones is it's essentially like the intricacy of the build and the stickers. So generally for like a 4 or 5 and up set, there won't be stickers because you don't plan on the kids being able to attach those stickers. But like the 8 and up and the 9 and up, really it's literally like age 9 to 99, right? So don't take that too much in advance, like too much to heart for the 9 that it's going to be too easy. When you get to the like, I think it's 18 and up, that's when you're going to get more intricate. But I would really recommend starting with a smaller set.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And I don't know if you've seen it yet, because I know you have a cat. So they have a black cat build. And it's a large, I have it. It's one that the head has fallen off and I have to figure out what's like internally in the neck. But then they also just did like a ginger cat.
Oh, that's so cute.
Or there's like, they just did the Winnie the Pooh. I've got my eye on the Winnie the Pooh, because then it comes with like a little burrow, little side build that has the Winnie the Pooh and the ER figures.
So where should I buy these? Because I can't go to a BAM or Bricks and Minifigs.
No,
So where's the next best place?
I would always say a Lego store.
Mhm.
If you're looking for current stuff.
Okay.
Or find an aftermarket one that's not a Bricks and Minifigs. Like
Okay.
there'll be, you might be able to find like another local aftermarket shop. Or like Lego itself, ordering online. Costco is a great idea.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay.
Costco always has great deals on Lego. I picked up the Golden Pathos Botanical at Costco that was on sale. So Costco always has really great deals on sets.
Well, I'm so excited. I was like, you know what? Crystal will be the perfect person to guide me, because I was like, I don't even know what I should do. I mean, like I have a puzzle. I was going to buy one the other day in the store, and then I was like so overwhelmed. I went and I bought a puzzle instead. And so
They have the Lego puzzles. Lego actually makes puzzles too.
They do.
They did a Christmas train puzzle.
Oh, that sounds so
we
cute.
had it in the store. We had it in the store one year. But
I have
like,
to look that up.
I'm always going to recommend starting small, because if you've never done it before, it can be intimidating. And so I'll always recommend starting small and just seeing like, is it something that you like? And then
It's so
I'll give you one last piece of advice, because I see the comments coming in. There are people that like to take apart and then store because they just maybe don't have space, they don't whatever, and then rebuild. My biggest piece of advice that I'm going to throw out based on my experience is, if you're going to end up taking the set apart, for whatever reason, to soar, to rebuild, whatever, I always recommend you start at the last page of the instruction booklet and you deconstruct going backwards.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Because then you can take each bag and store each bag by itself. So
Well,
that
I
when
don't
you
think
go
I
to
would take it
rebuild,
apart.
you can
Yeah.
go bag by bag again. That's my
I'm definitely not taking apart. I think people in the chat are so funny. They even know all the numbers of their sets. I'm
Yeah.
just like, you guys are real. These
Yeah.
are the real Lego people in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really helpful. So I'm gonna look at the the cat one like this, or like you said, the Christmas, the holiday ones could be cool too. And I'm gonna start really small, like, and see how it goes.
I always recommend starting small, because sometimes if you try to start very large, it can get and my concern and why I say that is if you start too big and then you start to get frustrated or you feel overwhelmed, that can then sour that experience. And I say that as a neurodivergent person that will start a new project, a new hobby, a new craft, and I will start like I'm expert level and then be like, shout out to when I tried to teach myself how to crochet. Like, then you get in the middle of it and you're like, this is way too hard. I'm never touching this again.
Well, I definitely want something that it's going to remind me of this case, like, and like the whole community of this case. So I was like, I'm going to do something.
Yeah. And they do, there is. So the Justice for Tattle shirt, that's not the exact same parrot, but Lego has a parrot set.
Yes.
And it's one of those creator sets. And so it is actually a parrot. I took like a version of that, but then had to adjust the color because that one is blue. So there is actually a Lego parrot set. It is funny because an employee at the Lego store in Portland said I should come back and hire and apply when they start hiring in the summer.
I was going to say, you're so good. And even the chat sees it. And so, well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So you guys got to see her in action. Like, this was the store manager and like how she'd really help someone like clueless like me. And I mean, you would have sold me whatever you said. So
so that goes back to the operations manual, right? And there are some people that, because we had people come into the store all the time, right? My grandkids love this, but I've never done it before. How would you recommend I start? Like, if all I'm worried about is my bottom line, then I'm going to go, oh, have you seen this botanical set that's $150? Start with this one. If I want to build a customer base and be part of somebody discovering something new and finding a new hobby, finding a new thing that they love to do, then I'm going to say, like, start with this one, like start with the smaller one. That goes to that operations manual and how you run these stores. Like, part of it is very much a product of being raised by somebody who believed that money was the center of everything, that the amount that you had in your bank account was a reflection of your morality and your worthiness as a person. That's my mother. That was my mother. And I am never going to base myself and my self-worth and my level of success on what amount is in my bank account. That is not who I am as a human being. My level of success, my own metric for how successful I am going to be, like at the end of the day, at the end of my life, isn't going to be what amount did I have in that bank account. It's going to be, did I bring some good into the world? And did I minimize any level of harm that I brought into the world? That is my metric for success.
Well, yeah.
And I'm never going to be a billionaire. I'm never going to be, but I'm also, that's how I define my own success.
Well, I hope you take these guys to the cleaners, first of all. And second of all, I mean, I was going to get there at the end, but no, I think what you're doing right now is beyond words of success. And I think that it's going to launch into a platform, hopefully, where you could, be successful in whatever you choose to do. And I hope this gives you the confidence to do that. But also, I mean, you just look at someone like The Last Relic, like BAM took everything from him. They took everything. And his character was it says everything about his character that the landlord was like, you know what, forget about that $500,000
And
that they ran up.
yeah.
And just clean it out, and we'll call it good. You would almost never see that, but that's so. Even though they took every cent he had, I mean, he had value in the way he was a member of that community, the way he was with his partnerships and the business. And so, again, I mean, sometimes I feel like he sells himself short, and he shouldn't, because I think that was amazing, and he has a lot of good insight and good takeaways from everything, and he shares it with everyone, which I think is really important. And so, before we get into questions, we have some questions that people had left. We'll get into the chat questions and the chat super chats. I just want to quickly go to the BAM update, because I know when she said when they say that they mean it. So should we go to this update?
I don't.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, but I suspect I might know.
You might know what it is. Okay, so I don't. So this is going to be new to me. Let me make sure I'm sharing. Let me make sure you guys can all
this
see
isn't
this.
what I was expecting.
Okay. So this is from today. It says $508,000, the number that sold the store. BAM's own table says fewer than half of its stores reached it. Oh, so I think this was from your lawsuit. One number sold the Salem store, $508,000. The average revenue BAM printed in the disclosure document is buyers received. The number is real. The rest of that page is the problem. Fewer than half the stores counted ever reached the average. BAM's 5 corporate-owned stores came in well under it. The note explaining which stores were counted does not add up, and 2 editions later is off by 27. And the sales deck BAM left sitting on a public server put that revenue in front of buyers 2 steps before the document with the fine print arrived. And then it says that the figures were shown as a picture of profit and were the bait is what the Salem franchise alleges, and then BAM denies wrongdoing. Its answer is not yet filed. And then it says the figures below come from BAM's disclosure documents and its own sales deck. Wages and utilities are ours and marked as ours where they appear. And so it says where the numbers come from. So it just says 36 stores in this system of 56. And the franchise-owned ones opened the full year. BAM has 56 franchisees. That December, most of them is missing from the number that sold the franchisees. The note explaining that choice does not hold together. It claims 56 franchisees, then breaks them out as 50 American and 1 Canadian. Its next sentence splits the same group, 36 and 15. Both breakdowns come to 51. 2 additions on, it is worse. The 2025 document reports 158 franchises, then accounts for 89 plus 96. That's 185 stores in a system of 158. The 2026 note reconciles exactly. So this is like almost a different language. Oh, there's no translate on this one. Whoa.
I know. Sometimes I have to be like, explain it like I'm an idiot.
Let me see if this was the update that she meant, though, because maybe not. Maybe it was the one before this. I don't know, because I think this was the only one from today. Because this one was from yesterday. The leaker. They were looking for the leaker of the Slack.
That one is. I don't know.
That one was crazy.
That one yet.
Oh my gosh.
That one was. Yeah.
They're literally threatening. They have not learned.
Yeah.
Go to the grass.
That's the thing. Is like. That's the thing. Is are you just wildly incompetent?
No, they're stupid. Yeah, they're incompetent and stupid. Okay, she said to go to the chart. The chart comes first. The documents come later. Franchise sale does not begin with the disclosure document. BAM's sales deck pulled from a content server the company left publicly readable and reported here in July lays out 8 steps, introductions, and confidentiality agreements, then the brand review, then the franchise disclosure document. The revenue charts live in the brand review at step 2. Its revenue breakdown page built in April 2022 and still updated in March 2025 names its source and the steps at which the document arrives. And it says the most up-to-date revenue information is found in the image below, retrieved from the 2023 franchise disclosure document referencing the 2022 financials. These can be found in item 19 of your franchise disclosure document, which we are at step 3. Okay, so this is what a buyer sees at step 2 after signing the confidentiality agreement. So this is like saying the average amounts, right?
Okay.
Did you remember seeing something like this?
Honestly, it has been so long.
Yeah.
And I can't find my franchise disclosure document. I don't know. They didn't send it to my personal email, so I can't find it.
Well, I'm sure that was by design. And then it says chart 2, pick a band of stores where the average revenue goes at BAM's own rate. So you can say the actual average, the bottom third. So I guess this is like corporate owned stores. How do they make so much more money?
I mean,
and this is, oh, but no, but they're in the negative. Like, what is this? This is crazy. So $361,000, the average across BAM's 5 corporate stores, $100,000 left before tax with 2 people on the floor. They pay themselves no royalties, so that column is gone.
Yeah.
So they break all this down. And then what is this? The same arithmetic. Okay, so this is chart 3, every band of stores and the corporate ones. So this is like the cost to stay open. So this is like, I'm a little confused on this part. I feel like I'm too dumb for this.
Like I said, whenever the BAM app has something, I need a dumb it down translator for me.
What the Salem store actually did, Miss Law, this is you, took the store over as its manager at about $10,000 a month and more than doubled it to a steady $20,000 to $25,000. She then bought it and held it there. Yep, we said that. We called that that stood out to me when I read the complaint.
Yeah.
The complaint names where the proof sits, the point of sale data and royalty ledgers BAM seized and still holds. Doubling the store still did not get her near the numbers that sold it. $20,000 to $25,000 a month annualizes to roughly $240,000 to $300,000. Half of the advertised average, and it lands in the bottom third of BAM's own table. That is what doubling a store bought the bottom band of the chart and then a seizure. The disclosure document and the prospectus carrying the $500,000 arrived through BAM's Slack and the store email account. BAM cut off both at the seizure. The papers that sold them the store and the records that would test those papers are now held by the same company. So, I'll wait for someone smarter than me to explain this. Maybe Echo Base Network or something.
I mean, it in essence, the average amount that and I know Rose is going to jump in and correct me if I'm incorrect about this. When BAM sends out their franchise disclosure document, they say, here's the average amount of what your store is going to be worth. Here's your average revenue. What this is alleging is that average revenue does not line up based on their own finances. So if you go back to that chart, where you can choose between stores. So
up here, this one, the corporate. Okay,
yeah.
So
essentially, what they claim is this one in the green. They claim that 500,000 average revenue, right? But then, if you look at what these stores actually are doing. So your
this one's the actual.
revenue,
This
so
is
your
the actual.
average revenue at 490,000, right?
How many people did you have staffed in your store?
So let's say we had a very low staff. So we had between 2 to 4 people, mostly part-time.
Okay, so I'm going to put 3. Okay.
Or actually, if you include myself, full-time. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this all looks a lot of negatives here.
So, and then that's what you're paying, right? So your average revenue is going to be, let's say 500,000, right? You're going to spend 172,000 on your payroll. Sorry, you scrolled and I
sorry.
So I'm reading your screen. So the cost of goods, that you're going to spend, and that tracks. You're going to spend about 20%. It's generally 20 to 25% of your revenue is going back into your inventory. That's ideal. Generally about 30% will go back into your inventory. And then your royalty payments are going to be that, 4%, 6% based on your franchise agreement of that 500,000. And then the marketing is that percentage that's been locked in by corporate.
I can't believe they pay that marketing lady.
So here's the thing is that marketing percentage, you have to spend a certain percent, and it's been too long. I don't remember what the exact percent is right now, part of that goes into a national marketing fund. And that's the percentage that goes to corporate for their national marketing. The rest of that marketing is the percentage of your revenue that you are supposed to spend on your own marketing. So those are two different marketing amounts, right?
So
yeah,
they
and,
should be,
and
they
it's
should
highlighted.
Be...
It's highlighted down here in pink. 1% to the marketing fund, and then I don't know if they have the rest of it. I think it's like 3% or 4% in your own marketing.
Yeah, 3% local advertising, 3% of revenue.
Yeah.
So this one on the end, I'm guessing. So that's what you're left with.
Yeah. So
Before
essentially,
taxes.
So, but what they're saying is, and that's presuming you only have 2 people, and that's presuming you're living in like an average renter's market, like an average market, right? That's presuming you're in a state where your minimum wage, I'm going to guess this is predicated based on the federal minimum wage. Oregon's minimum wage is at almost $15 or at $15. Or it's stepping up every year to get to $15. Right now, I think last time I was in charge of that in the store, it was at like 12 something. So those numbers are all going to fluctuate based on where it is.
So basically, they're like snake oil salesmen. Like they're selling something that's just not the truth.
Yeah. So I mean, this lays it out right here. The bottom third turns $300,000 into sales, into about 43,000, a fifth of the midpoint of what it costs to open a store. So like that, this is actually laying out the practicalities of.
And the corporate store carries no royalty or marketing. So because the company's store pays itself no royalty. So on that much sale, they keep that much money. So, wow. This does not look like a very good investment. I mean, it's
not only do they do corporate stores, and I know this from my time as a manager, not only do corporate stores not pay for marketing or royalties, they also don't pay for things like the ball figs that the products that the BAM branded products that you have to buy. We didn't pay for things like the calendar, the bags, the bulk containers, the signs, none of that stuff. All of the BAM branded stuff that all the stores have to buy through the BAM Shopify, the corporate stores don't have to pay for that. Corporate pays for it. And this is only a presumption. I'm going to presume corporate doesn't add any kind of markup to that.
Yeah. Wow. That's so crazy. I mean, I just think that I'm glad they're being exposed. And so I think that goes. Thank you, Rose, for sharing this. I know you guys put in so much work over there at the band map, and we appreciate it so much. Even if I can't understand it,
I'm going to have to go through this. I'm going to go down to where it's the what the Salem store actually did part.
We read that one.
Oh, did we? Okay. I'm going to have to go through that. If my understanding, the super dumbed down is the numbers that they give in the franchise disclosure document may not actually line up correctly with the numbers that the stores actually do. Now, I don't know. That's just my on the very first run. I think this is what this appears to show.
It appears to show some giant false advertising, in my opinion, and I think that all the people who are current franchise owners, I hope that they can find a way out, which I think actually is a perfect transition. Thank you so much, Rose Investigates, for that, for all that information. And I put the 3 raccoons in a trench coat, speaking of, so perfect timing.
Okay, I'm gonna need to I'm either gonna need to know how you did that, or two. Yes, I've been working on my own version of that, and yours looks better than anything I've come across so far.
Well, I just made it really quick because I didn't want to take someone else's. And Rose says it could potentially be a predicate for a fraudulent inducement if Chris bought this store expecting $500K and Ammon knew it was only going to ever make $300K. And you guys kind of say something like that in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I felt like I read that.
Yeah.
So,
This is just adding more, like more actual numbers to what we already believe happened. Because sometimes in that lawsuit, I know BBQ counselor, I don't know if he's still in the comments. I know how he feels about what's the phrasing on belief on
predication of belief or something, or on.
Yeah. So the way our attorney explained that to us is there are things that we know because we already have that information or we already have that evidence. Then there are things that we believe, but we need something from, let's say, discovery to prove that. You essentially we already have the evidence for something. We have a hypothesis for something else. And our attorney has explained that's what that on information and belief. She uses those in that context.
Yeah. But so now you might have some.
This is just
documentation.
More, yeah. So
Information.
Rose is again helping our attorney out with finding the information for us, which we appreciate.
This is so funny. Thanks for the super chat. Alex the Fiction says 3 times raccoon and kimono. I said that when it was first super chatted to me because I thought the way it came through, it looked like the jacket was a kimono. So I was like, 3 raccoons and a kimono. And you could, the chat was so funny. Okay, so here's some questions from the chat. So this was from Meme Panda. He said, his question is, how are you guys holding up financially? Hope you are above water and will win.
I mean, that's we are not yet above water. It has helped us. Ben's parents have been fantastic, and they made some loans to us that we have offered to pay back, and they have thus far proven very stubborn about that, which we appreciate. There's a lot of stuff that's going on credit right now. Our lawyer has been really amazing about kind of breaking down the payment amounts that we're paying her every month, and offering us thus far a discounted rate, which we really appreciate. Now, as we go into the continued likelihood that this will actually make it to litigation, that's where the kind of terror comes in. And I think that's perhaps what they have counted on, because then you go into things like forensic investigators and all the different outside people that you have to hire to go through all of this. And then you get into things like the deposition and even, adding on flights to Utah, hotel stays, the time off of work, all of that stuff. So yeah, it's a lot. And
they're not exactly swimming in money, and I think it's crazy that they even have lawyers at this point, knowing that there's other lawyers going after the same people for money for unpaid fees in their last lawsuit where they sued their dad. So it's like, I mean, how far can they even take it also? And I mean, again, it would be so stupid at this point to keep going, but here we are. So you guys keep ordering those shirts, or even your GoFundMe is listed.
And
Hello?
the GoFundMe is still very much a necessity, a critical. We're looking at the number changes for how much this is going to cost based on each step of the process. Getting to the point that we filed our lawsuit, we were already at almost $30,000 just to file the lawsuit, just to have one Zoom meeting and file that lawsuit. And then, moving forward into mediation, that number goes up to 75 to 100,000. If we end up going to trial, that number goes up to 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, depending on every step of that.
Well, I just hope that everyone continues to support you. The GoFundMe, again, it's linked in the description. This is funny. Almond McNeff, the parody account, says, I have a $5 off your next BAM minifig purchase coupon to the first person to tell me which raccoon is Rose. I'm sure they were dying to know who Rose is. Because Yeah, it's so crazy. And then Eric says, so with Rico, that means BAM will end up paying for legal fees also, right? Oh yeah. Not just that. It's
Theoretically,
also
yes.
yeah.
It's
and
all
double
predicated on the judge ruling that or the jury ruling that.
because isn't it also like double damages though too?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're so screwed. It's crazy. So here, I just hope everyone keeps supporting you. And then this was also from Alex the Fiction says, what did Chris think of her portrayal in the Reckless Ben movie trailer?
I don't know if you guys all watched this. I got a kick out of it. I thought it was pretty funny. This one and the animated movie, the animated music video. I got a kick out of it. Ben sent me something yesterday, I think. I don't know who it came from, but somebody had created me as like a superhero. And that was kind of cool to see. That was both weird and hilarious.
You're a superhero on my thumbnail. Did you see that? Like I put you in like a warrior outfit.
I don't know. It's so odd to see yourself.
Yeah.
But it's also, I'm trying to find the you have to find the comedy, right?
I thought this one was cute.
Yeah, that was, oh goodness, Ben, you have to help me out. Who
is this, you guys?
Who created, what's the puppet guy that we did the interview with? We met a YouTuber when we went to Brick World. And we did a short video with them. Toys Play at Night. And so he uses a puppet on his channel that does the interviews. And he created the Lego minifig of both me and my Ben. And so that was where,
so cute.
Yeah, I love that. He sent me one, the original with just the black torso. And then he also put the I Am Not Amanda shirt on it, which I found hilarious.
I want to put a Justice for Tattle shirt on it.
Right. I have the transparent PNG for that I can send to you so you could put that on it.
Yay, let's do it. That would be amazing. Yeah. Okay, next question. This was from Zan. She says, is their attorney aware that BAM has a history of not paying? Does her attorney have a way to go after the LLCs where Ammon and Matt's money is hidden and tell her I love my Justice for Tattle t-shirt?
I am so glad you love the shirt. That makes me really happy to hear. I love everybody that's been supporting and buying it. It makes me so happy. You put work into the stuff, and normally for most of my designs, like nobody ever sees them, nobody buys them. But I love that this one in particular has been so popular. As far as our attorney, they are aware. She is also aware of all the various LLCs, and that's very much going to come into play in our conversations and in our legal framework. But there is also the fact that defamation sits outside of the scope of I think both BBQ Counselor and BJC Live pointed out. There are aspects of the defamation that sit outside of the corporate, what's the term that I'm looking for?
Oh, indemnification.
No, well, I mean, yeah, but no, what's the term that I'm looking for? Sits outside sits outside of the corporate veil. Thank you, Colin.
Corporate veil. Okay.
Yeah. So essentially, but then the other side of that is that you should also have insurance that will cover stuff like this. There's a reason why doctors have to have malpractice insurance. There's a reason why attorneys have to have.
Wasn't Legally Mine supposed to be the?
Yeah. So
your insurance.
A large corporation like that should have insurance for things like this. And as somebody pointed out earlier, getting the judgment and actually recovering those funds are two separate things.
Yep.
But there is paperwork that you can file, which essentially puts you as a, let's say worst case scenario is BAM Franchising declares bankruptcy and shuts down. And then Matt and Ammon and Kai and Brandon and Josh and whoever also files individual bankruptcy. There's essentially paperwork that you can file that puts you as a creditor. That way, if they ever then go on to, from my understanding, open another business or purchase their house or regain those assets, it essentially has you listed as a creditor. And so being able to go after those assets doesn't end with something like bankruptcy.
Yeah, it's like with the deadbeat like baby daddies or
exactly
that you gotta they're always, whenever they actually do make money, if they don't just do it straight up in cash, then the baby mama's gonna be getting it. So
there's another example that I've seen used in different circumstances is if somebody somebody owes like restitution or child support or something, but ends up in jail. You still have the opportunity when you're in jail or prison to do a work program in which that would go to those creditors.
That's very interesting. And then Tyrannosaurus Rex says it's like an episode of Scooby-Doo. We would have gotten away with it if it were not for those pesky kids. Thank you so much for the super chat and for the support. And then we had another one from Tyrannosaurus Rex. He said, "We love you, Miss Crystal. You're not to blame." And then, we saw the one from Zan about anyone who sees humans as output machines cares even less for animals. I think all of them are evil. And then the Hammer 498 says, Chris, you assume good faith as anyone in your position would have. Don't blame yourself for BAM not living up to their end of the deal. Thank you for the support and agree with you there. Alex the Fiction says, question for Chris. Does Ben call himself Horny Ben in private?
Listen. Everybody who's seen me on these knows how I feel about Horny Ben. Oh God, that's going to come out. That came out. He finds it so funny. He finds it amusing. That man went online. Somebody on the internet, I don't know who, sent him a link to add like horns to the top of his car. So now his car has like horns on the hood of it on each side.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So yes, he does. He finds it hilarious.
So
I blame Reddit for putting that thought into his head.
That is, he has to post a photo of that somewhere, like on his YouTube.
Oh, it's on his. I'm pretty sure he did post it on Facebook, like on his social media accounts.
Okay, well, he has to put it on his YouTube so we can see it.
Yeah.
And then Stan Lexi says, chat, if you know of someone with BAM gift cards, use it quickly before Almond uses it for the lawyers.
I would clarify, I would add to that, use your gift card, but use it at a corporate owned location if at all possible.
Oh, good good addition.
Because what's going to happen, and somebody else, I don't remember who it was, but somebody else pointed this out. It might have been Echo Base Network. It might have been Toy Band. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry. But as somebody pointed out, if BAM goes broke, there's federal and state legislation around gift cards so those individual stores would be on the hook for paying out those gift cards without ever receiving the money that went into purchasing those gift cards. So if you have the ability, so two things, if you have the ability to go into a corporate owned location to spend those gift cards, I strongly urge you to take advantage of that. If you do not have the ability, you're not in a position to go into a corporate owned location, I still highly recommend you go into any location that is closest to you. Even if you don't want your money going to corporate, you are using your dollars as a form of protest and boycott, which I 100% understand and support. The effects of it will be vastly more damaging to the individual franchise owners if those gift cards don't get used until after this. So
okay, so we should put a list together.
That money has already been spent. Yes. Yeah. So take your gift cards and use them.
Yeah. And then good point. And so I'm going to have to look up the corporate stores and make sure maybe we can make like a graphic for it or something. And then Tyrannosaurus Rex says, Cashing and Dashing, ladies, awesome stream. Thank you so much for the support, and thank you for the super chat. And so let's get back to, because we had only a few more questions left for here. So Khaleesi, just Khaleesi, one of our mods, says, sorry if this has been asked before. What resolution in regards to Tattle would Chris be willing to accept? Thank you for the interview, Justice for Tattle.
I want the name. I want the name of the shelter. I want the paperwork, because you have to sign paperwork. We are going to request the name of that shelter. Provide some proof. If you cannot provide that proof, you are going to have to compensate for that. And this is going to sound, this is going to sound cold and heartless, but it's coming from the legal standpoint of, and I've said this before, and I know how it's going to sound, so please forgive me, but in the context of our lawsuit, in the context of legality, you are going to have to provide compensation based, and again, it feels gross.
It's a civil lawsuit. That's the only.
It feels gross saying it in this context, right? Because you're talking about a living creature, but
she's going to take them to the cleaners, is what I'm saying.
In the context of the civil suit, you have to provide compensation for property, everything that was inside that store. And looking at a living animal and seeing it under that context feels disgusting, because it is disgusting. If you can't provide evidence of where Tattle went, that the shelter that you claimed that you had knowledge of, you have to provide compensation.
Yep.
And because we're talking about a living creature, that compensation is going to go outside the scope of just the monetary value of, like, the purchase value of Tattle and the equipment and the food and the toys and all of that stuff. Like that it sounds cold and it sounds heartless, but sometimes, like, that's the way our justice system works.
Well, that's the only thing you can really do with civil suits is, and how can you put a dollar amount on a living being like that? And Caitlin, I agree with her, says, Tattle was worth at least 10 million. She says, I agree with that. And then she also had another comment up here. She said, no, you can use the gift cards online. Only corporate stores sell online, right? Is that true?
No. So all the stores have the ability to sell online through, when I was there, it was through Shopify. I don't know if that's still, don't tell him that. Ben, his old license plate before we moved to Spain on his old car, that, like, before we sold our cars to move, his old lawsuit was Nerdy G. So you put that up there and he 100% will.
He'll put his license plate. What it says for people just listening is Horny Ben.
Absolutely will.
RNYBEN.
He absolutely will.
This is the funniest chat in the internet, I think.
I know he's out there watching this. I know he's outside, because there's, like, double audio. I'm surprised I haven't seen him in the chats. But I got distracted. All of the store at the time, it was Shopify. And so I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the same sales platform now, but most of the stores will sell in some online version. I know the Eugene store, Lemonade Man, I see you're the Eugene store had a shop online link. So you really just kind of have to go to the website for every store and see if there's a shop online. If you live, anywhere in the US, you may be able to shop online through a corporate store if you can't actually get there. Pun King, I saw your comment. He doesn't do the face palm when he sees your jokes or when I tell him my terrible jokes.
Let me go to that one. It said, this was a Pun King said, when Chris tells Ben a corny dad joke, how does he face palm? I mean, that has to hurt with those horns on his head.
He doesn't face palm. He does the groan and roll the eyes, because he's not even amusing about it. But
there you go. And then this one was really complicated. It seems like a lot of questions, ban family blogging. But I think basically, have they talked about reporting BAM's activities to FTC?
The
Federal Trade Commission? It's a really long question.
Non-expert, the law of agency. BAM's policy laid out enough. Disqualify from liability separation. For everything that Brandon did. I mean, I don't know, but BAM Corporate, outside of any of that, BAM Corporate is absolutely liable for, it doesn't matter if Brandon took over ownership the next day or 2 months later or 3 months later or at whatever point they're claiming. Brandon Best is the person that the representative that corporate sent in to take over that store. So the liability stops with corporate.
Corporate, yeah.
100%. There's no, and Kai is on the phone.
Yeah,
And
that guy is such a loser.
corporate took, and I saw there was somebody leaving 18 different comments in the chat earlier. And if you don't mind, I'm going to take a minute to address that. And there's somebody also that I see going through and leaving a bunch of comments. BBQ Counselors live video is a perfect illustration. There was somebody going in and making a bunch of comments about the amount of money I had paid out to Brian.
And he says 100% of what you just said, by the way.
I'm going to clarify right now. What BAM did the night that they took over is they took on, you cannot take on the assets for a business without also taking on the credits. You take on the deficits. You take on, if you are going to take on the assets, you also have to take on their liabilities. That is basic and standard. And it doesn't matter whenever Brandon presumed ownership, whether he took it on as the incoming owner. That night, Kai, my franchise agreement was with corporate. And so they took on every bit of responsibility. Whatever money I owed Brian, and I told them that night he was still owed money, all of that they took on the liability for. I can't do anything, and I could not further do anything without access to the inventory in the store and that point of sale system. So, I don't know how the operation manual will affect that because I am not an attorney, but there is no question about whether corporate is liable for Brandon's actions. He was their representative.
And they
said
it.
That's it right there.
Exactly. And then Kaylin said, Ammon seems to think he could just take the assets and leave the debts for everyone else. Colin 99 says, you don't get to just keep the upsides and say the bad sides go to whoever used to run the store. I mean,
that's not how it works.
Comical at this point that they keep trying to do that.
Yeah. That's not how any of that works.
Yeah. And so I think I'm so it's amazing that you're exposing all of this. And we talked about that one. Okay. So I think we addressed all the questions from the chat. Oh, and this was from my cat, Ozzy. So he's one of my crazy cats. And he says that he fought off 3 coyotes and survived. And he is proof of the impossible. And he says, have you realized how strong you are? This is not an easy fight, especially publicly. I hope this gives you the confidence and platform to launch into future successes. So, and I mean that, we both mean that. But, especially him, because honestly, he was not supposed to survive. They look at me like I was nuts when I went to the ER. And I was like, are you going to save him? And they're like, and he did. He survived somehow miraculously.
Does he have little fangs?
He does. He has these fangs and he drools. Okay, so I've had dogs. And
oh my
cats
gosh.
Okay, he drools so much. He drools more than any dog.
We had a cat named Bart when I was a kid. And I swear this cat was part Bobcat because he was huge. And I grew up out in the country. So he was like an indoor outdoor, but he was born with a weird curly, looped tail. And when I was probably 11 or 12, he went missing for a couple of days. We couldn't find him. And we had this giant oak tree off to one side of our driveway, and we heard him crying. And so my dad gets the tallest ladder. I have no sense of perception, but I had to climb up into this tree and pull him down. And he had been attacked by a bobcat, a cougar, something. And we don't know how long he was up in that tree. And he just had these gash marks down his side. And that was the same thing. Vet did not think he was going to survive. And that cat lived to be 16 or 17 years old. But he would also drool, which was so funny. He'd start purring and would drool. which was always
Wow.
which
And
was
not
always
that many
hilarious.
do, but he drools
Yeah.
so much. And
Yeah.
yeah, he got out by he's just like crazy cat. Like
Yeah.
I was running a neighborhood watch group and most of the calls were about animals. And so he was just not adoptable. He would bite.
Yeah.
He had so many, his former owners were really abusive, and even a cat sanctuary wouldn't take him. And so and that I had taken other animals to, and they're just like, because he had so many health issues. So we got all of his health issues under control, and he just randomly happened to get out because he can open doors that have L-shaped handles, like if they're not locked. And so it just was a freak accident. But he fought off the coyote. Like he's missing some fingernails. He's missing 2 teeth. He somehow, I mean, it's just it's amazing he survived. So, but then things can happen in what you're doing. I just want you to know, like, I mean, and anyone here can also attest who's been in any sort of litigation. It is so draining, and sometimes when you're in it, it is hard to you're getting gaslit so much by the other side. It's hard to realize like how
Honestly,
much you're doing, how good you're doing.
The hardest part was like two parts is the span of time between it, for me, this whole situation sits in these weird timelines of before, like when Collecting Weekly did their podcast, was the first time I had like a little moment of hope.
Shout out to Collecting Weekly.
Yes.
I mean, they really, yeah.
And then they, and then BAM went after them, and I fully understand they didn't step into this prepared for this, and I do not begrudge them for the choices they made. I probably would have done the similar thing in their position.
I didn't know BAM went after them. That's so funny. 'Cause remember, in their press release, they were trying to use trying to use Collecting Weekly to justify what
they went
were
after
saying.
and threatened litigation. Yeah.
And yet they wanted to say that Collecting Weekly was like their source of like telling the truth.
And then so after that, then it was okay. Now we're back to just like silently fighting this and trying to move forward with this lawsuit we can't afford. And then having Reckless Ben come in and doing that first interview with him is another point. And then honestly, the most stressful part of this whole thing was having done the interview with Reckless Ben, but waiting for it to come out. And that was like 8 months or something, 8 or 9 months. And that was stressful because you never know, like you don't know. I didn't know what that was going to be. I watched that right along with everybody else. And then now after that, the first couple weeks after that were utterly insane because I'm watching every video, reading every comment, going
like after
everybody
Ben's
on the
video?
internet going to hate me.
So did you know I guess you weren't really interviewed on his video, right? On
Reckless
his first
Ben's?
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah. So I am on Reckless Ben's on his first video.
No, you're on it, but like, did he interview you? Oh yeah, he did. He did. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't know it was going to blow up like that, right?
No, and I didn't. I gave my interview, but I didn't know any, and then we didn't speak. And so I had no idea what form that video was going to take. In my head, I'm going, Brian is rightfully pissed. And he has my pictures, he has my videos, but he also, who knows what corporate is saying, who knows what they're going to say to Reckless Ben. And so in my head, I'm going, there's an equal chance that this video could come out and it lays it all on me. Or the comments, the video could come out and the comments could come out and I'm the internet is then I'm the villain. And so that was, because you can know what you've done and what you haven't done.
Yeah.
But not know how to convince other people of that. And so that was a horrible, that was maybe, and in that span of time, we're going broke and looking at moving back to the US because we can't sustain our life in Spain. My marriage had fallen apart. We were on, like, we moved back to the US. When we came back to the US, we knew we were divorcing. Ben was going to Utah or to Ohio, and I was coming back to Oregon. Like my marriage was over. And so all of that is happening. And so it's like easily the worst, one of the worst time periods in my life.
Yeah.
And it was just, I can't, I mean, it was dark, and it was, you know, you wake up in the morning and you're disappointed that you've woken up. And it was therapy, and it was horrible.
And now, but like, do
time.
you see how much then, like, you have grown? I mean, and obviously, like, your relationship, you guys realize you're stronger together, and like, have you realized like how strong though you really are? Like this, like, not everyone was able to somehow figure out a way to fight back, and you know,
it's therapy. I mean, for me, I can't. For me, it's therapy. I cannot shout out my therapist enough. It is not hyperbole to say that she has saved my life more than once.
Yeah, but there's also something you have to realize that's in you, that you're willing, because this is not easy, especially, I mean, fighting litigation on your own is hard, but like publicly, then you have to deal with like everyone has an opinion, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's not easy always to filter all that stuff out, you know? And especially if you're neurodivergent. I mean, I am too. Like, I just have no filter, and that's always been a problem. Like, my family's always like, can you just shut up? Like, can you like think before you speak? And I'm like, no, I can't. I try my best, but like, you know, I'm just gonna say it as it is. That's just how I am, and I just don't have time. I don't have, like, you know, it takes a lot of effort for me to really rein it in.
My therapist pointed out something to me, and it's something that I've come to understand is I spent, and anybody in here that's neurodivergent, you understand masking. You understand putting on a face. And there's a lot of like mirroring and mimicking of the people around you, because you're raised knowing that you're different and you're desperately trying to fit in. One thing that my therapist has pointed out is once you learn to unmask, once you learn to exist authentically in the world, it is nearly impossible to mask again, because the notion, the masking is something that you do subconsciously. It's not even anything that you choose to do. It's my whole life. People have been telling me I'm different and weird or too loud or I talk too much or, you know, all of those things. And so it's a protective mechanism that we adapt to and adopt without intentionally doing it. And so we don't know that we're doing it. And it is exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It creates legitimate health problems. Like, it actually affects your body. And once you get to the place, and me, it was therapy. Once you get to the place that you can authentically go out into the world and just be yourself, putting that back on becomes impossible. And it becomes 1,000 times more exhausting. And I don't have any desire to do it any longer.
Well, I'm glad you don't, because everyone likes to see you as you are. And look at this is what Colin said. He said Ben gave Bam the same opportunity to speak to him that he gave Crystal. And the difference is how Crystal and Bam handled it speaks volumes, in my opinion. And everyone's been saying that. Like, even Ben said it. He's like, anytime you've asked Crystal anything, she's been open and she backs it up. And anytime you ask Bam anything, it's just like they just contradict it. Like, nothing, they can't get a straight answer out of them.
I have no need to deflect or to hide, or to like think about what I'm going to say. Like, I see the neurospices in there, and
there's a lot of neurospices in here. And then there's a few more questions. Oh, this is just really quickly. Sorry. This was just going back to Bryson. He said, I had to get one of my cat's teeth pulled recently, and drooling was one of the symptoms leading up to this. No, trust me. He had a full dental appointment like last month or the month before. And that's how we know that he has those missing teeth, because they didn't even catch that at the ER. Yeah. But they said no, they're like, the rest of his teeth are fine. They cleaned it. He had a lot of buildup, but they said no, some cats just drool, but he drools. Like he drools more than dogs I've had, and it's like, it's just so funny. And then this one says, it says, Chris, this is from your side of the stream. One of your viewers said, did you have fully paid items on layaway that you still owe money to the original owner? I'm a true crime content creator. No, like she doesn't owe money for anything. That's not her problem.
I mean, yes. there were not any fully paid for items still remaining on layaway, because once they were fully paid for, they were like entered into the system and the item was given to the customer. And like Josh himself addresses that in the Kaiser police report about the layaway items. And specifically, I'm actually a little bit, I hate to say this, a little bit grateful to Josh Johnson for that part of it, because he specifically mentions fulfilling the layaway at Ewok Village.
Yep. I know when he said that, I was like, I remember you saying, yes,
that is a customer that I know that customer. And he was one of my regulars, one of my favorites.
He was the kid that kept putting a little bit money each time, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. And I was like, I hope he gets his set.
And that was I saw that and I was like, I genuinely hope that is true. And I genuinely hope that he got that. Because imagine coming in and putting your Christmas money, your birthday money, your allowance money down on something like that and not having that be followed through. So like that made me, I hope it is accurate.
And this one says, what did you think about Reckless Ben after the first interview with him?
It's so interesting because he comes across, he is exactly how he appears. The dang, right? That's him. And so going into that interview with him, I had watched a couple of his things, and I still remember, I still remember when he first reached out to me. Brian reached out and said, this guy's going to reach out to you. And he reached out to me. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, dude. He reached out and he was like, I'm a documentarian, and Brian's reached out to me. And I went on his YouTube and I watched, and I remember going to my Ben and going, he says he's a documentarian, but that seems like a stretch. I feel a little bad about that now. But like going into that first interview, I recorded it too. I was super paranoid.
And shout out to you for being the one to tell Ben to record the call with Kai, by the way. So good thing you're paranoid.
100%.
That was gold.
Yeah.
That you guys, the whole one's on her channel. We've listened to it before, but just that was gold. So so you recorded it. You recorded your interview with Ben. Okay.
Yeah. But coming out of the first interview was like, at that point, it's out of my hands. I've answered all of his questions, and at that point we had almost given up. Because we can't afford to continue to fight it, and we're dealing with all the personal issues and the marriage issues and all of that stuff. And at that point, coming out of that interview, there's just a sense of relief of like whatever comes from it is going to be what comes from it, and it's out of my hands now. And it wasn't until way later he sent me the first 14 or 15 minutes about a week and a half before the first video dropped, and he was like, here's all that you're in it, just for a heads up, and then everything else is all of the other stuff. And then I felt a little bit of relief, but then it's still my level of paranoia given all of this, going, is that really all that I'm in it? Because you never know. But
let's see, we only have a few more. This says, the almond says, truth requires little to no preparation. You know what else? Judge Judy says, if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. So that's why I always just like to
that part.
Just tell the truth, because look at the people that don't. And I mean, it annoys me watching the BAM corporate interviews, but at the same time, I'm always like, I always clock so many lies, and they just talk out of both sides of their mouth, and it's just gold every single time. And then Clifton says, hard to find a jury or judge with no knowledge of all this. Well, no, I think there's a lot of people who aren't completely in the know. They all have grandkids. BAM will not receive a friendly hearing anywhere. Jury already knows they are pathological liars. Yeah, this is not something they're going to want to go to a jury. I'm surprised they've even taken it this far, and so we'll see how much further they want to take it. And I think one of the last slides I had, I said, well, I think I messed something up. Okay, so I'm missing one slide. I said, what would be your advice to franchise owners who want to get out?
Find a lawyer. That's my first, that's my first piece of advice is hire an attorney. hire an attorney. There is language in your franchise agreement, and I would take a really close look at the information that has come out, particularly regarding lawsuits, and take a look at your franchise disclosure document and consult with an attorney, and maybe make sure that corporate can't access your location's keys, and doesn't have full control of your security.
back up everything. Everything. And then Lily Petal, thank you for the super chat, says, did you hear conspiracy theory of Ammon's robot? Oh, I think
have no comment.
No comment. Okay. I don't even know what that is. I was just thinking, I think they were talking about the Slack. I thought they were talking about the Slack bot that says that if you screenshot, they'll know you. I mean, Ammon's theories are crazy. They all need to test their water over there. And then, oh yes, this is a good one. Find a lawyer experienced in franchise law. And I was going to say, reach out to EchoBase, reach out to people. Like, there are people, I think, that are willing to help. And then I just wanted to close this up. Yeah, back up everything. And I just wanted to close this all out. I want you to be able to say any final thoughts that you had, and and thank you for being here and for all your time. But yeah, anything that you want to say or whatever, like, I just want to open the floor to you. And
Rose,
did someone say robot?
You guys are all amazing. Compliments make me uncomfortable. Shout out to the narcissistic mother, but childhood trauma, yay. Compliments make me really uncomfortable. I don't feel like I'm doing anything particularly special. They started a fight. They counted on me walking away. That's not really who I am. I don't like bullies.
Yep.
I don't tolerate bullies. I don't want to be the person that sits back while you harm other people. I'm never going to be the person that's going to sit back and watch somebody actively harm somebody. I didn't ask for the fight. Don't let me quote Lord of the Rings here. I'm bordering on a Lord of the Rings quote right now. I didn't ask for it, but I'm not going to back down from it. So I don't feel particularly heroic. I feel like I am.
Do you not see your picture right here?
I know. I'm doing the best that I can, and you all have to, I want more than anything for you to understand EchoBase, Toy Bounty Hunters, LUS, BJC, BBQ Counselor, Husband Wife Law Team. I'm going to not name, I'm collecting weekly.
And every GoFundMe donor.
Every GoFundMe donor. We steal from old people Facebook group, the Reckless Ben subreddit. Every single one of you. You're what? Oh God. I don't like to cry in public. You all prop me up. I don't have the you are the ones that are allowing me to continue this, us to continue this. You, not just financially. I'm not talking about financially, emotionally and mentally. You guys, you prop me up. You give me the feedback and the support. And it's funny because I was talking to Coach about this the other day. It's a community. Like, we've built a community, and our humans are designed to exist within communities. And it's essential to survival. And as somebody who grew up, I'm going to answer one of the questions. Yes, I have CPTSD. So as somebody who grew up without a community, who grew up othered and outside, the support of this, I genuinely cannot articulate how it just saying thank you, like it feels like it's not, I don't have the language that's strong enough for it. You like, I don't know how else to say it. And I'm going to keep rambling until somebody stops me. Like, that's my final thought is without all of you, and I'm so sorry if I left you out and I didn't name you. Like, it feels like when you've won like the Grammy and you go up on stage and you don't have your little notepad with all the people.
No, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Somebody goes up and forgets to thank their husband.
We all hear you. We hear you, and we understand. And also, well, I'll add someone else to that list. My mod. Well, both all my mods, but to Christina, who brought me into this case, because I would not have even. I don't know if this would have gotten on my radar, but and I wasn't gonna. I honestly was wasting so much time. I was spending so much time like researching and getting hooked into this case, and that like it was taken away from like things I actually like. I really need to do my real life, and I wasn't gonna be able. I was like, I don't know if I can be able to continue this. And then that idiot marketing lady did the privacy complaint. And so at least it gave a little more, like, I felt like I got a little more support in the community. I was like, okay, so I can justify like spending the time I need to on this. And again, and just like this, like right now, Mercurial, thank you so much for the super sticker and for the support. And I really appreciate that. That means a lot. And look how cute she has it looks like a little cat or something in there. But what I will say to you, I don't know that many good quotes, but I think there was a Sex and the City quote where she said, don't get mad, get everything. And that was something
that's the First Wives Club.
Oh, is that the First Wives? Yes, the First Wives Club. Okay. Don't get mad, get everything.
That was
and
like
that
their
was
tagline for that movie, right? Yeah,
I think so. And it's something like I want, it says don't get mad, get even, but I want her to get everything. Like I want you to get, oh, that's your cat. Okay. That's so cute. See her little cat right there. But like, I want to make sure like, again, going through it. Cause like I definitely have been there more than once, but in litigation. And I just want you to know that like it still feels hard because you're constantly getting gaslit by the other side and the other lawyers. And sometimes it can almost feel like your own lawyer is gaslighting because they have so much respect for the other side's lawyer. And I'm like, don't listen to anything that lawyer has to say. They're representing demons. Like, listen to me. And it is not easy. But like you are doing what you're doing, you have to give yourself credit. And I know you say you're not good at accepting compliments, but I don't want you to waste time giving your energy to any of the haters or the trolls because it's not worth it. But just instead think of giving that energy to the people supporting you because it puts out even more good energy and light into the world. So just accept the love from the supporters. And I know you are, but I know it's hard. But it's something.
Rose pointed out I didn't. Thank you to Rose and Colin and I left out your names, and to Ben. As Rose pointed out, I didn't actually thank my husband.
Yes, and to everyone, and I just want to thank again to the chat and to everyone who's been supportive because I know there's people who like maybe are my style is not for them, but like if anyone who supports it, at least it helps get the story out there. And I know I'm committed to at least following through to get justice for Tattle. And I just want to give you all the support. And then another thing too is like, this has been a really hard year because it'll be almost a year next month since my grandfather's died. And he's always we both are very justice oriented. And so, he never got to see this case, so it's like, I almost feel like he's, watching me do it. And he always tells me, he's like, can you try not to always go so scorched earth? But like, just.
That's a neurodivergent.
Yeah.
The heightened sense of justice is that's a neurodivergent trait.
So I hear him sometimes will say this. So I'll try to like present the information in a way that's like not so scorched earth, but sometimes I just can't help it. Like that's just how it is. Like it's good.
I did not go into any of this intending to bring down a corporation. I just wanted fair compensation.
Yeah, but you were put here and now, and you're helping other future victims, current victims, and people that don't have a choice. And just like, Last Relic. We didn't think Last Relic, he's been
Yeah.
He's been very
I told
good.
you I was
too.
gonna forget.
No, there's so many people. So she's like, you didn't intend on starting a revolution?
Yeah, I did not. I did not. That was not what I intended.
Well, I just want to say, and anything you ever need, I'm here for it. And you guys, again, the Justice for Taylor shirts, they are in the description. They are, the GoFundMe's in the description. I'm going to donate a portion of the super chats to your GoFundMe, just straight up to that. Just want to let you know from today, because I think that it's really important that you guys are in this fight, and I want to see you win. I'm like rooting for you 1,000%. And I think most of the rest of the world is too. And just on that note, thank you, Laura, Khaleesi, Christina, my fairy mod mothers. They have just been absolutely incredible. And we're going to go out. There's nothing else. I was just going to go out with you have something else?
I have one more thing, because I didn't realize how many of the my fellow trauma club members, the CPTSD club members and Neurospicy people were actually watching this in the chat. And so I'm so sorry, and I hope she doesn't get upset by this, but I talk more about the mental health aspect and the Neurospicy and all of that. Go over and find Steep Talk, the Steep Talk podcast, STEAP, as in like steeping tea. So Steep Talk. She did an interview with The Last Relic that's already aired. She's got a small following, a small channel. I would love you guys to go over and give her some support, because I will have an interview coming out on her channel. I don't know when, but she is amazing. She is part of the trauma club. She is part of the abusive relationships club and the neurodivergent club. And so she was fantastic. Sometimes you really just kind of, you meet somebody that you relate to so well, and you share so many unfortunate experiences in common with. So I'm going to shout her out. Go give her a follow and keep just like for me. Thank you.
And I'll make sure at the end of this in the description, I'll put her in the description and link the Last Relic's interview. And you just let me know. Of course, my mods are so good.
Already on it. Already on it.
They're so good. I swear.
I don't know when that one's going to air. But we talk about the situation, this situation, absolutely. But we also got a chance to be able to talk about more me, and more, because how you respond to every situation is also based on how you are raised. Our experiences go into how we move through the world. And so it's kind of fun. So if you are, a member of that unfortunate club, those unfortunate clubs, I think you guys will enjoy when not only when my interview with her comes out, but her channel in particular.
I'm gonna send you a meme. Someone has this meme that they told me that this reminds me of you, and it's a little kitten looking in the mirror, and in the mirror they see a lion, and they're like, we feel like that's what you're a kitten, but you're forced, you try to act like a lion. I want you to see yourself. I hope you could just maybe put a superhero or something on your mirror, because I think it's good for you going forward to realize even though you didn't even see yourself as this strong, courageous person speaking the truth and starting a revolution, going against one of the biggest companies, but you and Ben, because Ben, the way Ben handled the phone call with Kai, even you guys are both a great team. I think a very good team.
Patience was.
And I think that, just keep remembering that you're in the middle of it, but you're almost through the storm. You guys are almost there. You have so many things. I'm going to hook you up with the cluster. What was it? The pod. I just forgot his name. Sorry, it's been a long stream. But
Cluster Power
pod.
I think he reached out to me, but honestly, there's so many. There's so many.
There's so much.
Yeah,
it's a lot, and you definitely have made your rounds, and don't worry, we're all supporting you. We're here for it. Thank you so much for the time for coming on. This is this is a super chat from Mercurial Ire, a super chat for your GoFundMe. This is going to go straight to her GoFundMe. I mean, YouTube takes 30%, but after that, this, we'll make sure to donate that. Thank you. That's so kind and so supportive. And again, her legal, it's good. They're putting up the real fight there with legally. I think it's the first time BAM's faced really anything like this. So And we're gonna go out. This is like a tiny little remix of the Justice for Tattle song. This is how we normally go out on my channel. So thank you so much again, Crystal. Good luck to you, girl.
Thank
Keep
you
doing
so
your
much.
thing.
Thank
You got
you.
this, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. You guys
Okay,
are
everyone.
wonderful.
Thank you again to the chat and to everyone hanging out. And here, let's go out. Here we go.
Justice for Tattle, justice for Tattle, may none never live down these flames. Justice for Tattle, justice for Tattle, his death will not be in vain. Justice for Tattle, justice for Tattle, may one never live down these flames. Justice for Tattle, justice for Tattle, his